Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. I, Naruto, signed Kagaya Otsutsuki at the beginning. Chapter 1. Night, Konoha Village. A moon hangs high in the night sky. At this time, the Third Shinobi War had just ended. The gloom after the war has not completely receded. The village of Konoha, which should have been immersed in the pain of the war, was dead and silent. At this time, because of the succession of the fourth Hokage, morale was quickly restored. The fourth-generation Hokage Wei Feng Shuiman was born into a civilian family. But because of his outstanding talent, he has been known as a genius since he was a child, and he is even more radiant on the battlefield of the three wars. At the time of the three battles, Bo Feng Shuiman, with its magic of Flying Thunder God, matched the enemy, and was called a Golden Flash by the ninja villages in the ninja world. And because of the mobility of the Flying Thunder God art, he saved ninjas who don't know how much Konoha on the battlefield and gained great fame. Therefore, after the three battles, after the Wei Feng Shuiman succeeded to the fourth Hokage, the entire Konoha quickly recovered its vitality. At this time, in Konoha village, the shops are brightly lit. On the street, a villager from Konoha village and a ninja are shuttling through the crowds with their friends or significant other. Kakashi, the weather is so nice tonight, let's have a duel that belongs to youth. A teenager with a watermelon head, thick eyebrows, big eyes, and a green practice uniform suddenly jumped in front of a teenager with white hair, a mask covering one eye, and a somewhat gloomy momentum, shouting with an excited smile on his face. The surrounding pedestrians, seeing this scene, stopped one by one and looked at the two teenagers. And in the face of this watermelon-headed boy who suddenly jumped out, the white-haired boy's exposed eye twitched, and then, directly over the watermelon-headed boy and continued to walk forward. Rejected again. Seeing this, the watermelon-headed boy was a little depressed, but after a moment of depression, he recovered. Youth does not allow me to be depressed. Quote. Saying that, the watermelon-headed boy quickly turned around. Hey, Kakashi, wait for me. Inside the clan of the Thousand Hands. It should be tonight, right? A young man stood in the courtyard of a mansion, looking up at the bright moon in the night sky, and muttered in a low voice with an inexplicable expression. The young man's name was Yechin, or to be precise, he was called Thousand Hands Night Morning. Not bad. This young man was a member of the famous Senju clan who joined forces with the Uchiha clan to form Konoha village during the Warring States period. It's just that the original Warring States period, as well as the Thousand Hands of the Jonkyun clan, have completely declined at this time. In the huge Senju clan, only the young mansion still has light, and the other areas are completely submerged in darkness, so that the huge Senju clan and the lively Konoha outside form two worlds. I've really disgraced the predecessors of the Traverser. Quote. Standing in the courtyard, Yi Chen, looking at the bright moon in the night sky, suddenly laughed at himself. His eyes were full of bitterness. Yes, Yechin is a crosser. And it's the kind that the tire wears. 20 years ago, Yoshin crossed from an otaku rider of Earth to the world of Hokage. And it also crossed into the belly of the daughter-in-law of the great elder of the Thousand Hands clan. In other words, Yechin is the grandson of the great elder of the Thousand Hands clan. At that time, the Senju clan, although the first Hokage, as well as the second Hokage, had died. But the Senju clan has not withered, and it is still the great clan of Konoha. As the grandson of the great elder of the Thousand Hands clan, Yechin's identity naturally goes without saying. And Yechin, when he was born and learned his identity, he was also very excited. At that time, he stupidly thought that he would definitely be able to kick the 6 Dao class in the future, sleep Kagaya Heim, let the 6 Dao immortals call him father, lead the Senju clan to unify the ninja world, and even conquer the universe, invade the clan of the Atsuki clan, and dominate the universe. After all, he is a Traverser, and he still has the bloodline of the Thousand Hands clan, as well as identity, and he has no dreams. Is he worthy of his identity? However, the reality was that he, as the grandson of the great elder of the Thousand Hands clan, turned out to be a waste. Although he had the bloodline of the Thousand Hands clan, he didn't know why. His speed of refining chakra was unusually slow. And there are very few. Of course, this is for those who are a Senju clan. In fact, the speed of refining chakra in the night morning, as well as the amount of chakra, is still much better than ordinary people. Yechin had nothing to say about this, but he was not disappointed much. After all, if chakra is less, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be strong, right? So, Yechen relied on the identity of the grandson of the great elder of the Thousand Hands clan and began to learn the powerful ninjutsu of the ****** amount. In particular, the ninjutsu on the Book of Seals was his preferred target. However, the heavens seemed to have played a big joke on him. His ninjutsu talent, although not to say how wasteful, but that is not related to genius. There is no need to think about ninjutsu on the Book of Seals. He didn't learn any of them, or even read them at all. In the face of such a result, although Yechen was uncomfortable, he also crossed over, and he could only live on instant noodles in his previous life. Now, although he can't become a strong person and dominate the ninja world, after all, there is still the identity of the eldest young master of the Thousand Hands clan, and he is also satisfied with a rich young master. Therefore, in order to be able to let his rich young master's life continue, the Thousand Hands clan must not decline as in the original work. It is necessary to change the fate of the Thousand Hands clan. However, as it turned out, he still thought too much. This world is a Hokage world where the strong are honored. Although Yechen has the identity of the grandson of the great elder of the Thousand Hands clan, how many people will listen to him without strength? Therefore, Yechen could only watch as the clansmen went to the battlefield and watched the tombstones of the clansmen of the Thousand Hands clan erected. Even his parents in this life, because of a task, never returned. His heart was like a knife. Looking at the originally loud Thousand Hands family, they gradually lost their anger. Although the Senju clan allowed the Senju clan to integrate into Konoha village during the Senju Pillar period. The Senju clan people who can be integrated into Konoha village are all clansmen who cannot be ninjas. In other words, the people of the Thousand Hands who originally lived in the land of the Thousand Hands clan were all the elite of the Thousand Hands clan, and they were also the facades of the Thousand Hands clan. When the people of the Thousand Hands clan died in battle or disappeared, the Thousand Hands began to decline. Seeing this situation, Yechen knew that the general trend could not be changed. Therefore, he could only retreat again and leave a talisman for himself in Konoha. And this amulet is the granddaughter of the original Hokage, Tsunade. As long as Tsunade remained in Konoha, he would not be in any danger and live the life of his rich young master. And if you want to leave Tsunade in Konoha, you can't let something happen to the rope tree. As long as the rope tree is alive, Tsunade can't leave the rope tree and leave Konoha. Speaking of which, Rope Tree and Tsunade, although they are not Yi Chen's direct relatives, but because of Yi Chen's grandfather's relationship, Yi Chen also has to call Rope Tree in just as his brother and sister. Therefore, in order to be able to save the Rope Tree, Yechen did not know how many tongues were wasted. However, I don't know who fooled the Rope Tree with this stupid fork. As the eldest young master of the Thousand Hands clan, his strength has not improved much, and he actually followed the battlefield without saying hello to the people in the family. The result naturally goes without saying, as in the original work, he died a miserable death. The death of the Rope Tree made Yechen directly scold Niang. But for his own sake, Tsunade must not leave Konoha. Therefore, Kato, one of the triggers that led Tsunade to leave, became the key. Tsunade must no longer have a broken relationship with Kato. So, when Roppongi dies, Yoruto begins to smear Kato broken, just to ask Tsunade to ignore Kato broken. However, because of this, Yechen was attacked and almost killed. And it is precisely because of this that Yechen has already seen it. The decline and even the demise of the Thousand Hands clan is really the same as the speculation on the internet in the previous life. It was premeditated and planned. And the stallmen behind all this, needless to say, are absolutely inseparable from Konoha's current high level. The Night Morning that understood everything was completely rotten. And Tsunade, although because of his relationship, and Kato did not become a couple like in the original book. But it has also become a relationship between lovers and friends. And, perhaps for some reason, Kato's death is almost identical to that of the Rope Tree. Tsunade, who saw the same scene again, unsurprisingly, left Konoha just like in the original book. Alas, the picture in his mind flashed like a slide. Yi Chen let out a long sigh, then withdrew his gaze, turned to look at the busy red figure in the kitchen, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Although I can't change the fate of many people, but thankfully, I changed your destiny. Quote. Night Morning, what to see? Don't come and help yet. Quote. When Yechen was looking at his mind, the busy figure in the kitchen seemed to sense Yechen's gaze, holding a spatula, and shouted angrily. A faint smile appeared on Yechen's face, and he quickly replied, Zhu Xinai, cooking this kind of thing, let me come, I don't want to go to the hospital to wash my stomach again. Quote. Saying that, Yechen hurriedly stepped forward, snatched the spatula in the girl's hand, and entered the kitchen. Cut. Look down on people less. Didn't you say that Shibetsu should be impressed for 3 days? It's Miss Ben. Quote. Zhu Xinai pouted, saying so, but Yechen snatched the pot and shovel from her hand and she had no problem at all. Obviously, she still has a little count of the meals she makes. Yes, my family's Zhu Xinai is the most powerful. Yechen responded with a smile while stir-frying, and his thoughts flew again. To say that Yechen's efforts over the years are not completely in vain. Although the Thousand Hands family still embarked on the fate in the original book for various reasons. But the fate of some people was still rewritten by him. It's like the whirlpool Zhu Xinai in front of you. In the original work, Uzumaki Zhu Xina became the nine-tailed man Zuli, and finally married Wave Fengshuaman and became the savior Ma. But in this world, Zhu Xinai did not become a nine-tailed human pillar force, nor did he marry Bo Fengshuaman. And the reason is naturally because of the night. When Kushina came to Konoha, he was cultivated as a nine-tailed pillar force as in the original book. And the nine-tailed man pillar force at that time, that is, Uzumaki Mito, was not dead. As the next generation of the nine-tailed human pillar force, Zhu Xinai naturally followed Uzumaki Mito. As the saying goes, the near-water building platform gets the moon first. Although Yechen was still a child at the time, his soul was the soul of an adult. Zhu Xinai, who had just experienced the extermination of the clan and came to a strange environment and was afraid in her heart, was easily favored by Yechen. In addition, that time Zhu Xinai was abducted, Yechen was prepared early, and called Tsunade to rescue in time, so that Zhu Xinai's little heart completely imprinted the mark of Yechen. And Zhu Xinai, whose whole heart has fallen on Yi Chen, naturally will no longer have any stories with Bo Fengshuaman. As for why Zhu Xinai was later, why he couldn't become a nine-tailed human pillar power. Yechen was originally a little incomprehensible. But after experiencing the assassination, he thoroughly understood the face of the high-ranking people of Konoha. Yechen had already reacted all. In the original work, Bo Fengshuaman and Zhu Xinai came together, which cannot be because of 2 things. The first thing is that Zhu Xina has just arrived in Konoha. Her heart is hesitant, insecure, and when she is ridiculed by others, Bo Fengshuaman stands up and stands out for Zhu Xinai, giving her a sense of belonging. The second thing is because Zhu Xinai was abducted. Zhu Xinai, who had not completely come out of the extermination incident, was suddenly taken away, and his heart was naturally afraid and helpless to the extreme. Heroes save beauty, beautiful women fall in love with heroes, since ancient times. Well, of course, this precondition is that the hero is handsome enough. From the moment Bo Fengshuaman rescued Zhu Xinai's heart had already let Bo Fengshuaman live in. When reading the original book, Yechen still felt that Bo Fengshuaman and Zhu Xinai were nothing together. But when he personally experienced it, and even caused Zhu Xinai to be unable to do the nine-tailed human pillar power, Yechen understood. Zhu Xinai and Bo Fengshuaman were also arranged. It is unreasonable to say that Zhu Xinai was at school, and because of her red hair, she was ridiculed as a rare animal. Not to mention the red-haired ones, there are also clansmen of the Akamichi clan in Konoha village, just talking about the blonde hair of the Fengshuaman and the white hair of Kakashi, why didn't they say it? Obviously, Zhu Xinai was laughed at, and something was absolutely wrong. Besides, Zhu Xinai was abducted and finally rescued by Bo Fengshuaman alone. It's a spook to think about. You know, Zhu Xina was arrested in Konoha village. Although Konoha village at that time, because of the Second Shinobi War, most of the troops went to the front. However, Konoha village, as the base camp, as the next generation of the nine-tailed human pillar force, Zhu Xinai, was easily captured in the village and has not yet been discovered. I'm afraid this Konoha village has already been attacked by people, right? Moreover, what is more pulling is that a little ghost who is still in a ninja school and has not graduated defeated Yunin, who was able to kidnap Zhu Shina in Konoha and unknowingly took away Zhu Shinai, defeated and saved Zhu Shinai. Is this stepping horse, Bofeng Shuaman, the reincarnation of the six immortals? Therefore, no matter from which point of view, Zhu Shinai's marriage to Bofeng Shuaman was premeditated. Do all this for nothing else, that is, to control Zhu Shinai. Or to control the Nine Tails. As a genius among civilian ninjas, Wei Feng Shuaman is also Jiraiya's apprentice. And Zilai is also from a commoner, and he is the apprentice of the ape Flying Sun. Therefore, the Wei Feng Shui Gate has already been arranged by the ape Flying Sun. It is precisely because of this that when Zhu Shinai and Bofeng Shuaman did not come together, the reaction was very close to Yechen. Out of nowhere, Konoha found another girl from the Uzumaki clan and sealed the Nine Tails onto the girl. Not surprisingly, the girl ended up marrying Bofeng Shuaman. Ah, stinky night morning, the dishes are all mush, what are you doing? Quote. Zhu Shinai's voice came from behind Yi Chen, which immediately interrupted Yi Chen's thoughts. Ah, sorry, I'll fry another one. Yi Chen quickly returned to his senses, poured the dish that had been stir-fried by him, and made it again. Chen, do you have something in mind? Zhu Shinai suddenly hugged Yechen from behind, and asked softly with her face behind his back. At this time, Zhu Shinai and Yechen, although they had not yet made that last step, the relationship between the two had already been determined. The two grew up together again, and she naturally felt that something was wrong tonight. When Yi Chen heard this, his body suddenly froze, and immediately, he recovered again, and said easily, "It's nothing, didn't you say that Jia Wei was about to give birth? Today, I saw that the atmosphere in the village was a little wrong, and I thought that Jia Mei should be coming tonight." Quote. Uzumaki Yoshi, which is now the Nine Tails Pillar Force. Yechen is in the same session as Zhu Shinai and Wei Feng Shuaman. Uzumaki Jia Wei, plus Uzumaki Jia Wei and Uzumaki Zhu Shinai are still cousins. Therefore, the relationship between Yechen and Zhu Shinai and Bofeng Shuaman is still very good. Especially Zhu Shinai. The entire Konoha village is that she and Jia Wei are people of the Uzumaki clan, and the relationship is naturally better. Is that so? Zhu Shinai tilted his little head suspiciously and looked at Yi Chen. Of course. Yechen nodded without hesitation, and then pinched her little face. Okay, it's time to eat. Quote. Zhu Shinai angrily slapped Yi Chen's hand, glared at him, and began to help serve the dishes. I don't know if Jia Wei's child is a boy or a girl. So envious. Zhu Shinai said while serving the dish. If you envy, or should we have one? Yechen laughed while washing the spatula. When Zhu Shinai heard this, his face turned red, and he said angrily, Who is going to give birth to you? Did I promise to marry you? Quote. Hee, this can't help you, Yechen blinked, a bad smile on his face. How do you want to? Well, quote. Zhu Shinai, who was speaking, suddenly frowned and suddenly looked outside the kitchen. Sure enough, Yi Chen's body froze at the same time, and he walked out of the kitchen with solemnity, looking outside the Thousand Hands clan. The center street of Konoha village. Today's Konoha village is still very lively, full of people, one by one Konoha village villagers, couples shuttling through the busy city. However, what no one expected was that this prosperity would come to naught not long ago. Swoosh. On the roof of a third-floor building, suddenly a whirlpool constantly distorted space, and then a figure shrouded in black robes and with a yellow swirl mask on his face came out of the distorted space. It's really lively as ever. A scarlet chakra eye looked at the lively street below, muttered, and then pressed his hands to the ground. Psychic. Bang. A cloud of white smoke rises, covering half of the downtown area. How? What's going on? Quote. This is psychic. Who uses psychic arts here? Crazy. Quote. Enemy attack, quick, all ninjas evacuate the villagers, all go to the shelter. The moment the white smoke rose, the people on the street were all stunned for a moment, and then a ninja's face changed drastically, and he recognized that someone had used psychic techniques. Subsequently, these ninjas quickly arranged to evacuate the crowd. However, before the ordinary villagers who were still stunned could come back to their senses, a roar of a beast resounded throughout Konoha village. Roar. Boom. With this roar, a fiery red claw, from the white smoke, stretched out and directly grabbed a two-story small building, grabbing the entire two-story small building to pieces. Phew, a gust of wind blew and the white smoke disappeared. Immediately afterwards, a giant beast with fiery red hair and 9 tails behind it appeared in Konoha village. This is precisely the strongest tailed beast, the 9 tails. It's just that at this time, the 9 tails has been completely controlled by Uchiha Obito. A pair of eyes appear a strange scarlet, and the 3 hook jades in the pupils slowly rotate, making people tremble at a glance. Roar! The 9 tails let out another roar, and immediately, it began to rage in Konoha. Ha! Have you settled in already? Your speed, really the same as Yi Chen said, is to like to drop the chain at critical moments. Quote. Uchiha on a big tree with soil, suddenly looked in one direction, smiled coldly, and immediately, a space began to distort, turning into a vortex and sucking his whole person in. Among the clan lands of the Thousand Hands, Yechen and Ju Shinai came to the roof, looking at the 9 tails who were raging in the village. Yechen sighed in his heart. History repeats itself. When the news of Uchiha's death in battle came back, Yechen had already expected this day. But seeing that he can obviously change all this, but because of his lack of strength, let history play out again, which makes him extremely upset. Yes, is it the 9 tails? This is the 9 tails. Quote. Ju Shina stood beside Yechen, looking at the 9 tails who was ravaging Konoha, and the whole person stayed in place. Immediately afterwards, her face changed, and her tone was solemn. The 9 tails are broken, isn't that Jia Wei? Yechen, you are at home well, it is best to enter the secret room. I will stop the 9 tails and reseal it. After Ju Shinai watched Yechen finish saying this, he wanted to turn around and go towards the 9 tails. However, before she could lift her feet and leave, Yechen grabbed her hand at this time. Ju Shinai turned around and looked at Yi Chen. Can you not go? Yi Chen lowered his head slightly, holding Ju Shinai's hand a little hard, as if he was afraid that as soon as he let go, the person in front of him would never come back. The current 9 tails are complete 9 tails. Naruto Uzumaki could almost sweep the ninja world with half of the 9 tails, and now the complete 9 tails, although controlled, could not exert its full strength. But that's not something that Uzumaki Ju Shinai can deal with. Although Ju Shinai has reached the level of superior ninja because of the physique of the Uzumaki family and the sealing technique. However, in the face of the complete 9 tails, Yechen was really afraid that she would never come back. Ju Shinai has a sealing technique to restrain the 9 tails, but no one can bind the 9 tails, just with Ju Shinai's current strength, rushing straight up so straight, it is completely a life of 9 deaths. Morning, I'm so sorry, I can't listen to you this time. Ju Shinai's eyes were a little moist, and she didn't dare to guarantee that she could not seal it in the face of such a 9-tailed. This go, I'm afraid, is a farewell. Konoha is our home, the whole Konoha, except for Jia Wei. The sealing technique is my strongest. And, Ju Shina said, looking at the 9 tails that were raging in Konoha, the 9 tails appeared in the village. Jia Wei is obviously in an accident, maybe I need to come then. Quote. The meaning of Ju Shinai's words is obvious. If only Uzumaki Jia Wei was dead. Then she can only be used as a container to seal the 9 tails and become a human pillar force. Yechen wanted to say that this matter of the 9 tails was naturally solved by the Wave Feng Shuaman couple. But when the words came to his lips, he couldn't say it again. Because, he doesn't know what happened to the current Bo Feng Shuaman couple. Will it still be like in the original book? Bo Feng Shui Gate uses the ghoul seal to reseal the 9 tails. Okay, Chen, you go to the secret room, I'll be fine. There are still 3 generations of adults in the village. As long as the 3 generations of adults help me drag the 9 tails, I can seal it. I'm leaving. Quote. Ju Shinai broke free from Yechen's hand that grabbed her, turned around, and turned her back to Yechen. Chen, goodbye. Quote. At the corner of Ju Shinai's eyes, a crystal teardrop fell, and then the whole person jumped and went in the direction of the 9 tails. Looking at Ju Shinai's departing back, Yi Chen's strength seemed to be drained, and the whole person collapsed to the roof. Ah! Yechen suddenly let out an unwilling roar, hammering the roof while shedding tears, and his voice roared like a fierce ghost. Why? Why bring me here? Quote. Why did you bring me here and make me unable to do anything? Why? Ah! Yechen felt like he was going crazy. Knowing the fate of everyone, he can obviously change everything, but just because he has no strength, let the known fate play out again in front of his eyes. At this moment, the knight was incomparably hungry for strength. At this moment, Yechen was also extremely desperate. Even seeing the demise of the Thousand Hands clan, Yechen was not as desperate as at the moment. Because the person who is about to leave him is Uzumaki Ju Shinai. Ah! Yechen let out another unwilling roar, and immediately, the whole person stood up, his eyes turned red, and looked in the direction of the Nine Tails. Die, you will have to die sooner or later anyway, maybe you can cross it after death. I've had enough of these days. Yechen held the will of death in his heart, and he was going to catch up with Ju Shinai. He has had enough of watching the people he cares about and the life that leaves him. Just as Yechen was about to leave, his whole person was suddenly stunned in place, and then his body slowly trembled. Ding! Lucky gift system activated successfully. Yi Chen stood in place stunned for a few seconds, and then his whole body began to tremble, and immediately, he laughed. Haha, here, you finally came. I just said that I can't be without Goldfinger, just come, just come. After Yechen repeatedly confirmed that the voice in his head was not an illusion, he was so happy that tears flowed down his eyes. He finally has the power to protect those he cares about. System, introduce your function. In today's situation, there is no room for delays, and after gathering his thoughts, he quickly asked the system. Ding! Back to the host, this system is a gas luck gift package system. This system can be exchanged for Chi Luck gift packs with Chi Luck value, which includes skills, bloodlines, treasures, etc. of the heavens and worlds. The Chi Luck gift pack is divided into levels, and each level of the gift package requires different Chi Luck values, and the level of the items in the gift package is also different. The level of the Chi Luck gift pack and the required Chi Luck value are: Silver pack, 10,000 Chi Luck points. Gold package, 100,000 Chi Luck points. Diamond pack, 1 million luck points. Purple gold gift pack, 10 million Chi Luck points. Colorful gift pack, 100 million gas luck value. Ding! The consciousness of this world has been detected. It is resisting the host, the system demon function is turned on, and the system is negotiating with the consciousness of this world. Ding! This system has been hammered. Oh no, it is to convince the world consciousness, the consciousness of this world, will no longer target the host. When Yi Chen heard the words of the system, he suddenly realized that no matter how he practiced, he had found nothing, and it was because the world consciousness detected him as an outsider and was against him everywhere. System, can you kill this world consciousness? Thinking of the suffering he has suffered over the years, Yechen gritted his teeth with hatred for the consciousness of this world. Yes, the system faced the problem of night morning and simply replied with 2 words. Really, Yechen was overjoyed, and then, hatefully said again, System, hammer me to death this world consciousness. Quote. Ding! Is the host sure to do this? World consciousness is the core of this world, it has no feelings, no thoughts, it is just a program. If the world consciousness is erased, then the world will be directly shattered and return to chaos, and the host is sure to systematically erase the world consciousness. When Yi Chen heard this, he was shocked, and then he quickly shook his head and said, No, don't kill it. Quote. Joke. If the world is shattered, he is not sure if there is anything wrong with him, but Ju Shinai and the people he cares about will never survive. Ding! Due to the reason of world consciousness and the lack of strength of the host, the gift package in front of the diamond gift package has been bound to the world where it is currently located. World. I'll go to your uncle. When Yechen heard this, he directly scolded his mother. Originally, he still thought that if he opened a Saiyan bloodline in the future, or directly became a Super Saiyan, then he would also learn a fart ninjutsu, directly move in an instant, go to the clan land of the Dadamu clan, a wave of turtle pie qigong, and directly the world nuclear level. But he never expected that because of that dog world consciousness, he directly woke up his sweet dream. Forget it. Now is not the time to say this, what to do now is to gain the power to fight the Nine Tails and protect themselves. Quote. Yi Chen's gaze looked into the distance, a huge figure that was constantly roaring. As for the power of self-preservation, that's what happened after the Nine Tails. System, how to get the gas luck value. Back to the host, Chi luck can be obtained by forming, strengthening power, and family. Oh, forming a force, a family. When Yi Chen heard this, he frowned and then said, System, I am now the patriarch of the Thousand Hands clan, so what is my Chi luck value now? Quote. Now of the Senju clan, he and Tsunade are left. The male Ding was the only one left. Tsunade left Konoha, and the position of the patriarch of the Senju clan naturally fell on Yechen's head. Although the Thousand Hands family at this time, 2 or 3 kittens did not. But as one of the big families that built the village, the industry is very large. Not to mention the profits brought by those shops, just collecting rent is enough to spend a few lifetimes in the morning. Except, of course, flowers like Tsunade's. Ding. Host information generation. Name. Senju Yechen. Physique immortal body 35%. Chakra 0.8 cards especially shinobi. Blood succession boundary none. Chakra attributes wind, earth, yang. Ninjutsu spiral pill, shadow doppelganger, wind dun vacuum jade, fengdun crushing, Tuden Tuliu wall, Tuden heart decapitation, avatar, transfiguration, doppelganger. Comprehensive strength Naka shinobi. Gas luck value 1000. Looking at his personal information, Yi Chen's face turned dark, and he was a little incredulous. System, are you mistaken? The patriarch of my thousand-handed clan, I can't afford a silver gift bag with luck value. Quote. Host, please are you a little pressed? Just now, the ghost appearance of the Thousand Hands clan, if it weren't for the fact that there was still a Tsunade alive, he wouldn't even have 500 chi luck points. Yechen was completely speechless when he heard this. Alas, Yechen let out a long sigh, feeling a little sad in his heart. Think of the Thousand Hands clan that once dominated the Warring States period, but now it has not become such a forced situation. Suddenly, Yi Chen's heart moved, and he immediately asked, System, this chi luck value is actually related to the family and the force, so if I use the chi luck value to buy a big gift package, will it have an impact on the force? Quote. This kind of luck was said to Yechen in his previous life. Especially the stories in myths and legends, don't they all say that luck represents the rise and fall of a force? If he used his luck value to buy a gift package and ran out of luck, wouldn't this force be unlucky? The host does not need to worry, the chi luck value in the system will not have any effect on the host's power and family. Is that so? Yechen put down his heart, and then, with some expectation, asked, System, you should have something like a newbie package, right? Quote. His current strength, if he dies, he will endure, and his luck value is only 1000, and he can't even exchange the silver gift package. Without the help of the system, he would really collapse. Ding. The newcomer package has been distributed, is it open? Open. Ding. The newcomer gift package is opening, congratulations to the host for obtaining. Groove. Developed. Quote. When he saw the contents of the newbie gift bag, Yi Chen stood up with an incredulous face. Straight call took off. Ding. The newcomer gift package is opening, congratulations to the host for obtaining, Mudun blood succession limit. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining, immortal body. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining, Asura Chakra Pure Edition. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining, the Mudun Ninjutsu collection. Seeing these things, how can Yechen not be excited? Nima, just a fairy mode, he is equivalent to replicating the power between the Thousand Hand pillars to him. Especially that Asura Chakra. This thing is the key to the wooden dun between the Thousand Hand pillars having such great power. Otherwise, even if he had Mudun between the Thousand Hand pillars, then he was not the god of the ninja world, but a ninja world greening master who was a little better than Yamato. Sound of the system fell. Yechen only felt a buzz in his head, and then a warm current rose from his lower abdomen. Crunch, crackling. The bones of the night morning made a sound like popping beans. His physique is constantly being transformed. Ah! Yechen couldn't hold back any longer, and exhaled in pain. However, the transformation process is very fast. A moment later, when the pain reached a peak, a cool energy flowed through his body, which made Yechen almost couldn't help but cry out in comfort. Another moment passed. It's over. Is this the immortal body, and the power of the Asura Chakra after fusion? Quote. Yechen, who had an extra temperament, felt the earth-shaking changes in his body, and was a little unbelievable. Name. Senju Yechen. Physique. Immortal body perfect. Chakra 90 cards Shadow Peak. Blood succession boundary Mu Duan. Chakra attributes wind, water, earth, yang. Ninjutsu Mudun Ninjutsu collection. Spiral pill, shadow doppelganger art, When done vacuum jade, when done crushing damage, Tuden, Tuliu wall, Tuden, heart decapitation technique, avatar technique, avatar technique. Comprehensive strength, the peak of the shadow level. Gas luck value, 1000. Looking at his personal information, Yechen only has 2 words to give himself, that is. That's awesome. Not so long ago, he was a cannon fodder almost ninja. What now? Directly soared to the strength of the peak of the shadow level. Chakra is as much as 90 Kakashi. With his current amount of chakra, the current 3 generations of Hokage Ape Flying Sun Slash are not as many as him, right? And this is only the result of his just fusion. Yi Chen had reason to believe that when he was familiar with Mudun Ninjutsu and learned the immortal mode, his strength would definitely not be much worse than that of the Thousand Hand Pillars. Very good, the revival of the Thousand Hands clan, let's start tonight. Yi Chen clenched his fists hard, and a momentum erupted from his body, and then the whole person went towards the direction of the 9 tails like a cannonball. Quick, all gather to the 3 generations of adults. How did the 9 tails break the seal? All the upper shinobi gathered at the 3 generations of adults, and the middle shinobi and the lower shinobu were able to evacuate the crowd with all their might. Ah, monsters, monsters, don't eat me, ah. Boom, roar, huadu, how fireball, ah. At this time, Konoha village was a chaos. There were countless ninjas, front and back to the huge 9 tails, attacked. There were countless civilians, crushed in the ruins and struggled, one by one panicked villagers, under the maintenance of Naka Ninja and Shimo Shinobi, towards the refuge of Konoha village. He actually destroyed the village like this. Ah, it's time to burn youth. Metkai, who was next to Kakashi, looked at the 9 tails that was constantly raging in the village, angry and roaring, and was about to open the 8 gates of Dunja to fight hard. And Kakashi next to him, seeing this scene, also opened the Sharingan-eye and prepared to rush towards the 9 tails. You go and evacuate civilians, and this is left to us. Before the 2 could rush up, a middle-aged man with red eyes came to the 2 and stopped them. True Red Sr. Kakashi and Matkai saw that someone was coming to stop them, and Kai was a little anxious. The person who came was none other than Sunset True Red, known as one of the 8 colors of Konoha. That is, the father of Sunset Red. Don't say more, you guys go quickly, this is left to us old guys. Sunset Junhong turned his head to look at the 2, and then continued, you are the future of Konoha, you can't just sacrifice here, if you can, please help me find Red. Quote. Sunset Shinagi said nothing, and with a dozen kami shinobi, he walked towards the location where the 3 generations of Hokage were. True Red Sr. Matkai looked at the backs of Sunset Junhong and the others, his eyes full of tears, and he clenched his fists. Red Bean, let's go, the 9 tails are coming to our side. On another collapsed street, 2 14 and 15-year-old girls were running in panic. And behind them is the 9 tails. These 2 girls are none other than Sunset Red and Red Bean. And like them, there are dozens of Konoha ninjas and civilians. Roar, boom, the 9 tails suddenly roared, and then, abruptly, turned around and slapped at the ninja who had just attacked it. And the moment the 9 tails turned around, its tail swept down several houses. The ruins of these houses flew like cannonballs towards the 2 women and others. Oops, get out of the way. Feeling the cool breeze behind his head, Hongdu looked back and was immediately shocked. It's over. Hong sat paralyzed on the ground, a little lost for a while. Such a large area, the ruins that flew over, plus they had just fled for their lives, had exhausted chakra, and now there was no way to avoid it. Tuden Tuliu wall. Bang. At the moment, a crisp voice entered the ears of the 2 women. Immediately afterwards, an earthen wall appeared in front of Hong and the others, intercepting all the ruins. Hong and the others, who had survived the disaster, looked in one direction at the same time. Immediately, the first to enter everyone's eyes was a long red flowing hair, and then a heroic figure appeared in front of the 2 red women. Big Sister Ju Shinai. Red and Red Bean looked at the visitor with excitement on their faces. This is their big sister. Unexpectedly, at the critical moment, their eldest sister came to save them. Are you 2 little girls okay? Ju Shinai looked at the 2 ashen-faced women and asked with concern. We're fine, fortunately you arrived in time, big sister. Sunset Red and Red are moved. It's okay. Ju Shinai nodded, and then brought out the two children from behind him and said, "You guys take these two imps to the shelter." Quote. Hearing this, Sunset Hong and Red Doe looked at the two children in front of them. The two children, a man and a woman, looked about 5 or 6 years old. Moreover, in the boy's arms, he was still holding a baby. The most important thing is that the clothes of the two children are printed with a pattern like a ping-pong racket. This is the imp of the Uchiha clan, Red Bean Heart straight and fast. Ju Shina nodded, looked at the boy and girl in front of him, and said, "This is Itachi, in his arms is his younger brother Sasuke, they are the sons of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, this is Izumi, who was just rescued on the way." Quote. After that, Ju Shina looked at the 5-year-old Uchiha Itachi and said, "This is Red and Red Bean, you go to the shelter with them first, and when it's over, you will go home." Quote. Immediately, Ju Shinai looked at Red and Red Bean, "They will be handed over to you." Quote. Swoosh. Saying that, Ju Shinai ignored a few people and went directly to the side of the 3 generations of Hokage. "Let's go." After Ju Shinai left, Red and Red Bean said hello to Uchiha and a few people, and immediately, Red quickly led a few people towards the shelter. The roof of a building. "Come out, ape demon." Bang. The 3 generations of Hokage ape Hibiki looked at the destroyed Konoha and directly performed psychic arts. Has the 9 tails broken the seal? After the white smoke, a white-haired monkey wearing armor and a strong body looked solemnly at the 9 tails in front of him with his hands on his chest. "We must drive it out of Konoha, or Konoha will be destroyed, transform into a golden hoop stick, ape demon." Ape Flying Sun looked at the 9 tails and said with a solemn face. "Understood." Bang. White smoke rose again, and immediately after, a golden iron rod with 2 ends and black in the middle flew out of the smoke. Ape Fei Ri took the golden hoop rod and aimed it at the 9 tails. "We're on, ape demon." Quote. Wow. An eye opened on the golden hoop rod and answered. "Stretch it, golden hoop stick." Ha. As the words of the Ape Flying Sun fell, the golden hoop rod in his hand quickly lengthened and stabbed towards the 9 tails. Bang. The golden hoop rod stabbed directly at the chest of the 9 tails, spreading the 9 tails back continuously. "Drive it out of the village, don't leave your hands behind." Sarutobi ordered the surrounding Konoha ninjas. Wow. When the surrounding Konoha ninjas heard this, they answered one by one, and immediately, they seemed to launch an attack towards the 9 tails. Boom, boom, boom. For a time, one by one, ninjutsu, detonation talismans, and kuwu flew towards the 9 tails. Suddenly, the 9 tails were shrouded in gunsmoke. Looking at the 9 tails, who was completely shrouded in gunsmoke, Ape Flying Sun was not happy. Because, the golden hoop rod in his hand seemed to have stabbed a majestic mountain, and it couldn't be extended. He knew that this was the 9 tails going to exert its power. 4 generations, where are you now? The Ape Flying Sun chopped with a sense of foreboding, and goosebumps all rose on his body. He knew that an extremely bad crisis was coming. Roar. Sure enough, when the smoke had just dissipated a little, under everyone's terrified gaze, the 9 tails opened its huge mouth towards Ape Flying Sun and the others. Wang wang. Strands of chakra quickly converged in front of the 9-tailed giant mouth. "It's tailed beast Jade, stop it quickly." Seeing this, Ape Fei Ri's heart jumped, and he quickly roared loudly. "Fire escape, how fireball technique. Fire flame bomb. Wind escape, wind blade. Wind escape, crushing." Hearing the words of the Ape Flying Sun, all the ninjas returned to their senses, and then one by one, ninjutsu flew towards the 9 tails. However, all ninjutsu seemed to be just giving the 9-tailed guasha, and it didn't have the slightest effect at all. The 9-tailed beast Jade, on the other hand, was getting bigger and bigger. "It's over, you can't stop it. How can the 9 tails be so powerful? 4 generations of adults, where are you?" One by one, the elite ninjas of Konoha, watching their attacks, turned out to have no effect on the 9 tails, and then looked at the tailed beast Jade of the 9 tails getting bigger and bigger. The god of death seemed to be waving to them, and everyone was a little desperate. King Kong blockade. At this moment, a crisp voice reached everyone's ears. Whoops. Then, under everyone's gaze, golden chains wrapped around the 9 tails like poisonous snakes. Bang. The 9 tails, who were about to condense the tailed beast Jade, were directly pulled to the ground by these golden iron chains. This is King Kong blockade. B. Ju Shinai. Quote. Ape-Face Sun withdrew the golden hoop rod, looked at the nine tails who was fixed to the ground by the golden chain, and looked at the red figure with a face full of surprise. Ju Shinai. It's Uzumaki Ju Shinai. Haha great, the nine tails are going to be sealed. Quote. Alas, how did I forget Ju Shinai? Ju Shinai is the princess of the Uzumaki clan, and the seal is more powerful than Lord K, and with Ju Shinai there, the nine tails is not a concern. Quote. Yes, the sealing technique of the Whirlpool family, but the nemesis of the tailed beast, this time Konoha is saved. Quote. The Konoha ninja present saw Ju Shinai who was blocking with King Kong and locking the nine tails to the ground. Suddenly, one by one, they showed a look of joy. Ha, Ju Shinai, you came in time, not bad, not bad. Quote. Ape Flying Sun Chopper came to Ju Shinai's side at this time, watching the golden iron chain sticking out from Ju Shinai's body, binding the nine tails strongly, and the old face also showed a smile. HMPH. 3 generations of old men, you rejoiced too early. Quote. In the face of the praise of the people around him, as well as the praise of the Ape Flying Sun, Ju Shinai snorted coldly, and then, looked at the nine tails with a solemn face and said, the current situation of the nine tails, I think you can also see it. Quote. After speaking, he stared at the 3 hooked jade eyes of the nine tails, and slowly spoke, the current nine tails is obviously controlled by someone, so he launched an attack on Konoha. And the nine tails are controlled, seemingly very violent in destruction. However, its strength, because it was manipulated, did not play out at all. 3 generations of old men, don't forget that the nine tails is the strongest tailed beast. As the strongest tailed beast, do you think that if it is not controlled, I can seal it with my current strength? Quote. When Ape Fei heard this, the smile on his face froze, and immediately, he looked at the 3 gouged jades in the eyes of the nine tails, and his face suddenly became gloomy. Ju Shinai glanced at the gloomy-looking Ape Flying Sun, and said lightly, 3 generations of old men, it's useless to think so much now. I think, now it's better to take advantage of the fact that the nine tails are still under control, and they haven't completely run away, so hurry up and let people cooperate with me to seal it. Otherwise. When Ape Fei heard this, he suddenly returned to his senses, and then quickly ordered loudly, quick, let the people of the sealing class hurry over and cooperate with Ju Shinai to seal the nine tails. Quote. Yes. The elite ninjas around Konoha had just heard Ju Shinai's words, and now where did they dare to delay? They quickly followed the instructions to inform the sealing class ninjas who had been preparing on the periphery. Also, go see what's going on over there in Watergate. Sarutobi looked at the nine tails, who was still struggling by Ju Shinai, and spoke again. Yes. When a dark officer heard this, he quickly answered and skipped in one direction. Spiral pill. Boom. Meanwhile, in the back mountain of Konoha village, the spatial ninjutsu duel between the Wave Feng Shui Gate and the Uchiha Obito pair of masters and apprentices has also reached a white-hot stage. And this duel, after all, is the Wave of Wind and Water Gate with rich combat experience, which has the upper hand. I saw that the Wave Feng Shui Gate was in the Uchiha belt soil, and the moment it was about to attack him, a Flying Thunder God technique came to the top of the Uchiha belt soil, and then a spiral pill pressed down. Directly pressed Uchiha Obito to the ground and rubbed. The dust dissipated. Uchiha took the soil to cover his shoulder that was constantly dripping blood, and the kaleidoscope of chakra eyes under the mask stared at the Wave Feng Shui Gate. However, Bofeng Shuiman will not miss this opportunity, and once again came to Uchiha Obito, and was about to attack. This scene is exactly the same as in the original book. However, perhaps because of the night morning, Uchiha Obito, who was supposed to be sealed by the Wave Feng Shui Gate to seal chakra, was deviated this time. I saw that when the Wave Feng Shui Gate was about to contact the body of Uchiha Obito, his whole person passed through his body again, and there was no damage to Uchiha Obito at all. And Uchiha Obito, at this time, repaired the injury through the white recovery power on his body. Uchiha with soil, the whole person was hidden in a different space, in the invincible state of divine power, did not attack again, looked at the opposite Wave Feng Shui Gate, and spoke, it is worthy of being the 4th generation of the eye with the name of Golden Flash, and the art of Flying Thunder God is really difficult to entangle. Quote. Who the hell are you? Bofeng Shuaman frowned and looked at Uchiha Obito, and then, staring at Uchiha Obito's kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, Uchiha clan, I remember that there should be no person like you. Quote. Suddenly, Bofeng Shuaman's face changed, and he stared at Uchiha with soil. Could it be that you are? Seeing this, Uchiha took the soil and chuckled in his heart, and said in his heart, he won't recognize who I am, right? However, the next sentence of Bofeng Shuaman made him a little speechless. Could it be? Are you Uchiha Ban? Quote. Boy, Uchiha took the soil here. There is no need to brag hard. Bofeng Shuaman directly arranged for himself. So, Uchiha took the soil and said in a low voice, I didn't expect that there are still people in this ninja world who know my name. Yes, I am Uchiha Ban. Quote. When Bofeng Shuaman heard this, his face became a little more solemn. Uchiha Ban. This is the existence of the Warring States period together with the first generation. You turned out to be Uchiha Ban. What is your purpose in doing this? Bofeng Shui Gate said with a serious face. Ha! Uchiha took the Tsuchimi Feng Shui Gate full of guarded expressions, and a deep voice snorted coldly, HMPH. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm coming back this time just to clean up the mistakes I made. Now it seems that it is almost cleaned up. Quote. Uchiha said with soil, glanced in Konoha's direction, and muttered in a low voice, I forgot about you, but let me see the power of the strongest tailed beast. Quote. Saying that, Uchiha turned his eyes slightly under the kaleidoscope of the earth mask. Bofeng Shuaman seemed to have sensing, and his face suddenly changed, and he suddenly looked in the direction of Konoha. And the moment he looked in the direction of Konoha, an earth-shattering roar resounded throughout the heavens and the earth. Roar. With this roar, a momentum like destroying the world rushed in all directions. After the calf, the nine tails are completely violent. Bofeng Shuaman, who has always been gentle and handsome, felt this momentum, his face suddenly changed, and he subconsciously spit out someone's mantra. Uchiha took the soil to hear the wave Feng Shui Gate, and subconsciously said the words, and the look under the mask suddenly became a little strange. At this time, Wave Feng Shuaman was worried about Konoha, and he no longer wanted to entangle with Uchiha Obito. A flying thunder god technique disappeared in place. Ha, have I been underestimated? Seeing this, Uchiha smiled coldly, and immediately, Kamui launched and also disappeared in place. Among Konoha, the moment Uchiha took the soil to unlock the control of the nine tails. The three Gojade in the nine-tailed eyes disappeared, and immediately after, a tyrannical aura rose from its body. Not good. All back. Quote. Ju Shinai and Ape Flying Sun Chopper were closest to the nine tails, and instantly felt the change of the nine tails, and their faces changed at the same time, and Ape Flying Sun Chopper quickly waved his hand to make everyone retreat. Ju Shinai didn't speak, but the chakra in her body was also exporting wildly, and the golden iron chain bound to the body of the nine tails shrank violently. Roar. The nine tails raised his head and roared, and then his limbs were forced, supporting his body. Bang dang dang. The golden iron chain bound to its body emitted a cracking sound. 3 generations of old men, you guys quickly think of a way, I can't hold it anymore. Beads of sweat appeared on Ju Shinai's forehead, and he spoke with great difficulty. Without Ju Shinai's reminder, Ape Flying Sun Chopper has already begun to use movements. King Kong Rui Band. Bang! Ape Fei Ri threw out the King Kong Rui stick in his hand, and immediately, the chakra on his body rioted. The Rui golden hoop rod flew to the top of the nine tails head, and then, it turned into a stream of white smoke, and then, huge Rui golden hoop rod flew out of the white smoke and landed on the nine tails, combining into a Vajra cage. Shadow Doppelganger Art. Bang bang. The Ape Flying Sun Chop was sealed again, and immediately after, 4 Ape Flying Sun Chopping that looked exactly like the Ape Flying Sun Chop appeared. Ha! The 5 apes scattered around the 9 tails, and the 4 shadow doppelgangers rose up in the air, and immediately after, the 5 people sealed at the same time. Wudin Dalian Bullet Technique. Wudin Dalian Bullet Technique. The 5 apes flew into the seal at the same time, and then, with a mouth, the 5 attribute escape techniques blasted towards the 9 tails. Bang! Moment. An earth-shattering explosion sounded. The 9 tails, blocked by King Kong and sealed by the Rui Golden Hoop, were shrouded in gunsmoke. Is this the 5 ninjutsu of the 3 generations of adults? Good. So awesome, so terrifying. Quote. The 3 generations of adults are worthy of being the strongest Hokage, and it is simply impressive that they have combined 5 different attribute Dunjutsu to form such a ninjutsu. 3 generations of adults are awesome, long live the 3 generations of adults. It's good that there are 3 generations of Konoha, otherwise, the entire Konoha will be destroyed. Yes, speaking of which, where did the 4 generations of adults go? Quote. Salted fish around. Oh no, the surrounding Konoha elites, after seeing this wave of 5 consecutive bullets of the ape flying sun, one by one, their expressions were excited, which was a boast. Looking at the ape flying sun, it was even more fiery, as if the personnel in a pyramid scheme organization saw their boss. Only a small number of ninja people still had solemn looks on their faces. As a ninja clan inherited from the Warring States period to the present, even many people have never seen the true power of the Nine Tails. But the records in the family are enough to explain the horror of the Nine Tails. Really, when the fans of the ape flying sun, no, it's Konoha's elite, cheering for their boss. A sense of foreboding surged into everyone's hearts. Jushinai, ape flying sun slash, and some ninja powerhouses who rushed over, felt this sense of foreboding, and their faces turned pale. And those salted fish who were still cheering just now, as if their throats were pinched, their expressions froze one by one, and they froze in place. Rumble. Father. An explosion sounded again, followed by an ominous, evil red chakra, like a gust of wind, blowing in all directions. One by one, the ninjas with slightly lower strength were blown away with screams. Big trouble. Quote. Ape flying sun chopper and Jushinai had already moved away from the position of the Nine Tails, falling in ruins, struggling to stabilize their bodies. What is that sissy doing? How did he act as a Hokage? As a former reserve nine-tailed human pillar force, the strength of the nine-tailed man of Jushinai is the person who knows best besides Uzumaki Jiawei. Now that the Nine Tails has completely run away, there is only one ape flying sun chop with declining strength on the scene, and Shangnan, if you want to subdue the Nine Tails, I am afraid that many people will die. And from beginning to end, as a contemporary fire shadow, the wave feng shui gate did not appear, and Jushinai was really going to be angry to death. Roar, Uchiha, Konoha, humans. Uncle Ben is going to kill you all. The smoke of the explosion slowly dispersed, and the first thing everyone saw was a pair of scarlet eyes, and then a huge fiery red figure appeared in front of everyone with an angry roar. The Nine Tails looked at everyone present, let out a roar, raised their huge claws, and shot down at the ninja of Konoha. Rumble. This claw of the Nine Tails went down, and suddenly, more than a dozen Konoha ninjas who did not have time to escape were smashed into the air, or smashed into meat sauce. Nine Tails, don't be too arrogant, the wind escapes. Up. For Konoha. Fire. Rumble. How is this monster so powerful? Quote. Can't let it continue to be so bad, or Konoha will be finished. Let's go together. Rumble. Rumble. Konoha's ninjas came back to their senses, although the Nine Tails in their hearts were filled with fear. But Konoha is their home. Their relatives, friends, are all in Konoha. If Konoha is gone, then they really have nothing. Therefore, these elite ninjas of Konoha, one by one, launched another attack on the Nine Tails. However, how can these people deal with the Nine Tails who are out of control? Although these ninjas of Konoha have commendable courage, they are really like ants in the face of the Nine Tails, the strongest tailed beast. Often these Konoha ninjas rushed up, and the Nine Tails were killed and injured by a dozen with one claw. Moreover, after getting out of the look, the Nine Tails is no longer a huge target. Although its body is huge, but the speed is not satisfied at all. Some powerful combination ninjutsu, it relies on speed, directly dodged. Coupled with its nine tails, constantly waving like a poisonous snake, for a while, Konoha's side could be described as a heavy loss. King Kong blockade. Whoops. Kushina found the opportunity and took advantage of the fact that the Nine Tails was attacking Konoha's ninjas, approached the Nine Tails and cast the Kongo blockade again. In an instant, golden chains wrapped around the Nine Tails again, directly trapping the Nine Tails again. Uzumaki Jushinai, it's you again. The Nine Tails, whose limbs and nine tails were bound by golden chains, looked at the red figure on the second floor of a tattered building, his eyes widened angrily, and he roared towards Jushinai. Just now, it was looking for Jushinai. However, Ju Shinai was very clever and saw that the Nine Tails was about to run away. And she is a member of the Uzumaki clan, and once the Nine Tails sees her, she will definitely have to deal with herself first. Therefore, she hid early and looked for the right time to trap the Nine Tails again. Nine Tails, you still obediently be sealed. Ju Shinai's little face turned pale, and sweat dripped from his forehead. Even if she has the bloodline of the Vortex clan, chakra is more than the average person, I don't know how much. But to face the Nine Tails alone, it was still very reluctant. Want to seal Uncle Ben again? You guys dream. Quote, the Nine Tails had completely gone at this time, and hearing Ju Shinai's words, he saw dozens of ninjas landing around it, quickly making imprints. It knew that these ninjas of Konoha were going to start sealing it. And the Nine Tails, who had been sealed for decades, finally had this opportunity to break the seal. How could it possibly be willing to continue to be sealed? Let's all die together. Father, the Nine Tails said, opened his mouth to Ju Shinai, and then a tailed beast jade instantly condensed. Quick, hurry up and seal the Nine Tails. Seeing this, a trace of hesitation flashed in Ape Fei's eyes, as if thinking about whether to use the ghoul seal. However, this trace of hesitation disappeared instantly, and he looked at the sealing ninjas around the Nine Tails and shouted. Facing the tailed beast jade, Ju Shinai's heart trembled, and the breath of death seemed to cover his whole body. Go and die. Because the Nine Tails condensed a small-tailed beast jade, the speed of condensation was very fast, almost a moment's effort, the tailed beast jade condensed and flew directly to Ju Shinai. 2. Dead. Quote, Ju Shinai's pupils dilated, staring at the tailed beast jade flying over, and time seemed to be pressed to slow down. Morning. Bye. Quote, Mew done. Wood ingot wall. Phew. The small-tailed beast jade with a diameter of 2 meters flew towards Ju Shinai like a cannonball. Ju Shinai. The people around them, looking at the tailed beast jade flying towards Ju Shinai, were blinded one by one, and roared angrily. It's not that these people are better than Ju Shinai. But they all understood that the only person who could trap the Nine Tails now was Ju Shinai alone. Once something happens to Ju Shinai, then it will be difficult to seal the Nine Tails. After all, the only person who is currently suitable to be the pillar force of the Nine-Tailed people is Ju Shinai. Mew done. Wood ingot wall. Bang bang bang. Just when Ju Shinai was full of despair, a familiar voice entered her ears. Hearing this voice, Ju Shinai thought it was an auditory hallucination before he died. However, when the circular shield made of pieces of wood completely enveloped her, she came back to her senses. And at this moment, a dull explosion seemed to sound in her ears. Immediately after, she felt her ground shake violently. Quote, snap. The shield that wrapped Ju Shinai slowly disappeared, and a figure appeared in front of Ju Shinai. Sorry, it's late. Quote, Ju Shinai looked at the person in front of him blankly. Hey, you won't be scared silly, will you? It's over, what will I do for the rest of my life? There is an extra silly daughter-in-law at home, and this day can't be lived. Quote. With a smile on his face, Yechin reached out and waved in front of Ju Shinai. At this time, the night and morning felt more comfortable than ever. He, finally able to fight alongside her. He, finally have the power to protect her. Are you, night morning? Quote. Ju Shinai still looked at the person in front of him with some disbelief. It was Yechin. Dumbly asked. Yechin nodded, still with a smile on his face. He opened his arms and was ready to give Ju Shinai a warm hug. After all, this hero's routine after saving the United States came from this way, didn't it? However, it turns out that the plot after the hero saves the beauty, because this beauty is different, will be different. Bang! Yechin, who was opening his arms and waiting for Ju Shinai to throw himself into his arms, suddenly his stomach hurt, and then, he looked at Ju Shinai with a confused face. Some don't understand, what is the situation again? You fool, didn't I let you hide in the secret room? What are you doing here? You didn't know it was dangerous here. Go, go, quote. Ju Shinai said, pulling Yechin with a worried face, and was about to run. Yechin was pulled by Ju Shinai, looking at her anxious face, and his heart was full of emotion. Obviously, at this time, Ju Shinai did not return to his senses at all. Even if you are on the battlefield, even if you have just experienced life and death. But because of his sudden appearance, she was all thinking about his safety in her heart, and she forgot how she had just survived from the tailed beast Jade. Yechen grabbed Zhu Shinai and took her directly into his arms before she could come to her senses. Sorry. Thank you for protecting me all these years. Yechen hugged the person in his arms tightly and said softly, it's time for me to protect you next. Quote. Zhu Shinai, who was held by Yechen, heard this, his body shook slightly, and immediately, the whole person seemed to lose strength, his face was buried in Yechen's chest, and tears stained Yechen's clothes. I know, you're not waste, I know. Zhu Shinai's voice was a little choked. Over the years, with the decline of the Senju clan and the departure of Tsunade, their life has not been very good. Especially Yi Chen, as the only male member of the Thousand Hands clan, turned out to be a waste, and still occupies so many resources. I don't know how many people sympathize while facing the greed of some people. And Yechen's strength is insufficient, and Zhu Shinai can only wear a fierce mask to face the uneasiness and kindness of some people. Now, Yechen has great power, and she is happier than Yechen. She really wasn't wrong, the man she fancied was definitely not waste. Just when Yechen comforted Zhu Shinai, the surrounding Konoha ninjas who were close to Zhu Shinai exploded at this time. Just that, it's Mu Duan, right? Quote. Nope, no way, how is this possible? Quote. Mu Duan, is it really Mu Duan? Quote. Seeing the ninjutsu that had just saved Zhu Shinai, the expressions of the people around him could be described as wonderful. Especially the ape Flying Sun, he was frowning at this time, staring at Yechen deadly. Mu Duan. It turned out to be Mu Dun, and this night morning actually awakened Mu Duan. Quote. Ape Fei Ri's gaze fell on Zhu Shinai. Is it because of Zhu Shinai that he awakened? Quote. Ape Fei Ri's face was unpredictable, and he kept thinking about how Mu Duan's appearance would affect Konoha and him. But, everyone's thoughts all stopped abruptly with a roar. Due to the attack on Zhu Shinai, the King Kong blockade disappeared naturally. So, the Nine Tails, who was originally trapped, stormed away again. We'll talk slowly when we get back, now. Yechen let go of Zhu Shinai and looked at the Nine Tails like a small mountain, with excitement, and a solemn look in his eyes. It was the mood of being a traverser and preparing for a big battle after having top strength. Roar! The Nine Tails broke free, fell on all fours, and after sweeping away the ninja who attacked it with one tail, his gaze fell on Yi Chen. Little ghost, the breath on your body makes me very annoying. A pair of scarlet eyes stared at Yechen deadly. It seemed to see that nasty figure on this little ghost. When Yi Chen heard this, the corners of his mouth rose, and he looked at the Nine Tails without fear. Did you think of any bad memories? Quote. Yi Chen said. The whole person just jumped up, with a smile on his face and said loudly, Nine Tails, your power is too strong, so I will seal you. Quote. After Yi Chen finished speaking, the smile on his face became even brighter. Roar! Little ghost, give me death. When the Nine Tails heard these words, the entire fox body shook, and then, furiously, swung a paw towards Yechen. Mu Dun. Wooden man art. Boom, boom, boom. In midair, a seal was formed. Then, the ground below him continued to shake, and then a wooden figure Luohan rose up, directly grabbed the claws of the Nine Tails, and slammed into the face of the Nine Tails. Boom, roar, boom. The tall wooden man Luohan slammed a punch on the face door of the Nine Tails, directly slamming the huge body of the Nine Tails and flying out. And Yechen landed on the head of the wooden man who was tens of meters high, controlled the wooden man, and rushed towards the Nine Tails. Boom boom. The tall wooden man Luohan landed on the earth with every step, and the whole earth shook. And the ninjas of Konoha, watching the tall wooden man Arhat, running towards the Nine Tails, only then came back to their senses. Mu Duan. Is it really Mu Duan? Oh my god, Mu Dun has reappeared in the ninja world. Quote. In my lifetime, I actually had that close contact with Mu Duan. Even if I die now, it is worth it. Oh my god. This is Mu Dun. The original Hokage calmed the chaotic world. Mu Dun actually reappeared in the ninja world again. Quote. Haha, I, Konoha, am about to rise. Once the first Mu used to calm the chaotic world, and now Mu Dun has reappeared, then don't we Konoha want to unify the ninja world? Quote. I didn't expect it. It turned out to be that he awakened Mu Dun, the only male member of the Thousand Hands clan, the waste of the Thousand Hands clan all along, actually awakened Mu Duan. This is not Ming, a blockbuster. The ninjas of Konoha saw the scene of the wooden man Arhat chasing the Nine Tails. One by one, they froze for a moment, and then everyone cheered. Mu Duan, as the first Hokage, calmed the chaotic world and established Konoha's blood succession limit. For Konoha, it is not just a blood succession limit, it also symbolizes the faith of the entire village. Although Ape Flying Sun praised himself as the strongest Hokage, how awesome and great he was, as if the merits of the Thousand Hand Pillars were not as good as him. But the moment Mu Dun appeared, the boasting of the Ape Flying Sun really became boasting. Because, no matter how the Ape Flying Sun slashes, the entire ninja world knows the reality that the Thousand Hand Pillars have calmed the chaotic world with wood and have the title of the god of the ninja world. Ape Fei Ri looked at the little brothers who were loyal to him in the past, and they actually rebelled, one after another because of the wooden escape in the night and morning, and he was angry in his heart. He has been conscientious for so many years, and the reputation he has gained is no more than a Mu Duan. How can this not be angry? Senju, why don't you go into the trash can of history yet? Ape Fei Ri looked at the night morning on the wooden figure with some viciousness, and his eyes flashed with a dangerous light. And Ju Shinai looked at the night morning above the wooden man's head and burst into tears. Her man is indeed a big hero who stands tall. Her man is no worse than Jawa's man. In the sanctuary of Hokage Rock, Kakashi, Matkai, Sunset Red and other Konoha New Era people stood at the entrance of the shelter at this time, watching the wooden Arhats running towards the Nine Tails in Konoha village, and they were stunned in place. A moment later, Red Bean, if I'm not mistaken, that's Brother Yechin, right? Quote. Sunset Hong turned around a little stiffly, looked at the side, and Hongdu, who was also stunned, asked uncertainly. When Hongdu heard this, he turned around a little dumbfounded, looked at Shi Raihong, and nodded stunnedly. Good. It seems to be. Quote. See Gui. Sunset Red's ruby eyes suddenly turned into stars. I didn't expect Yechin's eldest brother to be so powerful, and he is worthy of being a man with a big sister. Quote. Aha. Hongdu also returned to his senses at this time, and said with the same full of worship. In the past, everyone said that Brother Yechin was a waste, and also said that Brother Yechin disgraced the Thousand Hands clan, and now I see who else dares to say so. Quote. Hongdu held his small face in both hands and looked at the running wooden man Luo Han. Brother Yechin is too handsome. I don't know if the eldest sister has any plans to let Brother Yechin marry a little wife. If there is. Bang. Ah. Hongdu covered his head and looked at Shi Raihong with dissatisfaction. Hong, why did you hit my head? Quote. HMPH. Shi Raihong snorted, and then, unkindly, I'm saving you. If you let the eldest sister know, you are worried about her man, and you want to be her little sister, you think about the horror of the eldest sister. Quote. When Hongdu heard this, the scene of Ju Shinai's red hair floating up like an octopus appeared in her mind, and she couldn't help but shiver. However, she still said with a hard mouth, HMPH, this may be true. Quote. Now the Thousand Hands clan is left with only Brother Yechin, and the great task of reviving the Thousand Hands clan depends only on Big Brother Yechin. And to revive the Thousand Hands clan, you need to have many children, right? To have many children, how can you rely on the eldest sister alone? So hey. Quote. Sunset Hong looked at Red Bean speechlessly. I really don't know what is going on in this guy's head. And Kakashi, Matkai and others on the side, listening to Red Bean's words, were also a little speechless. Meanwhile, Uchiha clan in front of the ground. At this time, in front of the gate of the Uchiha clan, two waves of people were facing each other. These two waves of people, one wave is wearing the clothes of the Uchiha family, and one by one staring at the Uchiha Fugaku led by Uchiha Fugaku. The other wave is the route headed by the 5.5 Hokage and Shimura Danzo, who has the title of Nabekage. Danzo, in today's situation, Konoha needs Uchiha. Uchiha Fugaku opened a pair of three-hook jade chakra eyes and looked at Danzo expressionlessly. And the Uchiha family behind him were all looking at Tuanzang with their chakra eyes open. HMPH. Danzo snorted coldly, swept over all the Uchiha present, and finally his gaze fell on Uchiha Fugaku. Now Konoha doesn't need your Uchiha clan, who knows if you go to the rescue or what to do at this time. Quote. Tuanzo, what do you mean? When Uchiha Fugaku heard this, his face changed. HMPH. Shimura Danzo snorted coldly, and said unkindly, the lady of the 4th generation is coming tonight, the 9 tails are broken, and the 9 tails are controlled by the Sharingan, what do you mean? Quote. As soon as Shimura Danzo's words came out, the atmosphere at the scene became tense in an instant. Boom. At this moment, the earth shook for a while, and everyone's eyes looked in one direction. When the people present saw the tall wooden figure rising from the ground, everyone's pupils shrank. Shimura Danzo exclaimed even more, this is Mu Duan. Quote. Roar. Not to mention the undercurrents in Konoha. On the battlefield at this time. After the 9 tails was punched by the wooden man, he just landed on the ground, roared, and threw himself towards the wooden man. Boom. The two behemoths collided together, and suddenly, a wave of shockwaves blew in all directions like a violent wind. On the night morning above the wooden man's head, he manipulated the wooden man to grab the claws of the 9 tails, raised his foot and kicked towards the abdomen of the 9 tails. And the 9 tails are not vegetarian, although both paws are caught. However, it still has 9 tails. 9 tails, like 9 poisonous snakes, wrapped around the wooden man, and one of the tails attacked towards the night morning above the wooden man's head. Mu Dun, Wood Dragon Art. Seeing this, Yi Chen made a seal again, and made a lotus-shaped shape towards the 9 tails' palms. Fa. 2 wooden dragons rushed out from the ground and directly entangled the 9 tails, one also opened its huge mouth and bit into the neck of the 9 tails, and the other wrapped around the 9 tails and bit the head of the 9 tails. Wang. Boom. A tailed beast jade was instantly condensed and formed by the 9 tails, and thundered directly at the wooden dragon's open mouth. The wooden dragon was directly smashed by the tailed beast jade, and then it slammed into the wooden man's head behind the wooden dragon unabated. HMPH. The night morning on the head of the wooden man Luohan snorted coldly, and the chakra on his body erupted, which was visible to the naked eye. Then, as soon as the wooden man Luohan used his strength, he broke away from the tail wrapped around his right hand, released the claws of the 9 tails, raised his giant hand, and directly grabbed the tailed beast jade that flew over, and stuffed it into the mouth of the 9 tails. Bang! The tailed beast jade exploded in the mouth of the 9 tails, causing the 9 tails to howl in pain and release the restraints on the wooden figure. This, is it the true power of Mu Duan? Quote. The ape Flying Sun, who was already some distance away from the battlefield, looked at the battle between the wooden man and the 9 tails, and the aftermath of the battle, and his face was full of shock. Although his teacher is Senju Kuruma, he has also seen the first generation Mekiju Zuma. I also grew up listening to the legend of Mu Dun and knew how powerful Mu Dun was. However, he had never seen the real Mu Duan. I have never seen the battle between Mu Dun and the 9 tails. Therefore, even if he knew that Mu Dun was very powerful, when he saw the scene in front of him, he was still shocked beyond words. Mu Dun, Mu Dun. After the ape Flying Sun slash was shocked, his eyes stared at the wooden man Luohan deadly, and his eyes were full of greed. If he also has Mu Duan, then why should he let people brag? Oh no, it's a repeated story, what about his deeds? If he had Mu Duan, who else in Konoha village would dare to contradict him? Mu Duan, Mu Dun ah. Shocked people are not just apes flying to the sun. The Konoha ninjas, who had left the battlefield, and everyone who saw this scene, were all shocked by this scene. This, is it the power of Mu Duan? Sure enough, it's terrifying. Quote. Hinata Hiyashi led the clansmen to stand on top of a ruin, watching this scene, and couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. Above the roof of a building. It is worthy of being the first generation of Mu Dun who calmed the chaotic world. It is really powerful, even the 9 tails can be pressed and beaten. Akamichi Dingzu looked at the battle between Kido and the 9 tails and exclaimed. Of course, after all, this is Mu Duan, Nakayama Hai said with a proud look on his face. His eyes looked at the position above Murin's head, and sighed. It's just that I didn't expect that it was this guy who awakened Mu Dun. I have always felt that to say who is most likely to awaken Mu Dun, it is necessary to Tsunade, but I didn't expect it to be him. Quote. Yes, speaking of which, I haven't eaten grilled fish made by this guy in a long time. Akamichi Dingza also looked at Yechen. Licked his lips and said. Speaking of which, this generation of pig deer butterflies has a good relationship with Yechen. When several people were studying, they were still classmates, friends, plus the original Thousand Hands family had not completely declined, and their relationship was quite good. It's just that after a few people came out of the ninja school, because they had to perform tasks and take over the family, they slowly did not come and go. Now, seeing former friends have the strength of today, they are not only sighing, but also a little nostalgic for the past years. What a hassle, compared with the Autumn Road Dingza, Nakayama High and the two-side. Nara Shikaku rubbed his eyebrows with some headache. As a person who eats by his head, Nara Shikaku has already anticipated what kind of storm Mudun will bring to the ninja world when he reappears again. Not to mention what other ninja villages will do, the turmoil in Konoha alone will not be small. It's going to get windy. Nara Shikahisa felt the aftermath of the battle between the Nine Tails and the Kido, and Yugwang skimmed to the location where Sarutobi Hinata was. With the collapse of the Senju clan, how can the Nara clan, who eats by its head, not guess something? Now seeing the big family of Thousand Hands, it is about to be completely destroyed. But at this time, as the only male member of the Thousand Hands clan, he awakened the legendary Mu Duan. In addition, during the reign of 3 generations over the years, the suppression of various ninja clans is afraid that Konoha will be unstable. Fortunately, now the 4th generation is in power, and the 4th generation and his wife have a good relationship with Yechin. I hope that the rise of Yechin can bring change to Konoha, not big change. Quote. Nara Shikaku shook his head slightly, hiding the thoughts in his mind in the depths. Mudun, how could this little devil suddenly awaken Mudun? Shimura Danzo, who had just arrived at the battlefield, looked at the wooden man who was fighting with the Nine Tails, and the whole person became hideous. This is a wooden escape. The Mudun he dreamed of. He didn't know how much he paid to get Muduan, and as a result, he obtained a version 0.5 with the help of the Great Snake Pill. And what about this little ghost in the night morning? Unexpectedly, he awakened Muduan, who was exactly the same as the Thousand Hand Pillar. How unfair is that? HMPH. Shimura Danzo stared at the night morning above the wooden man's head, snorted coldly, and began to plan in his heart. Bang! As the tailed beast jade exploded in the mouth of the Nine Tails and the wooden man seemed to be blown back by the aftermath and let go of the distance. Roar! At this time, the Nine Tails was extremely angry. As the strongest tailed beast, it had existed for so many years, and it had never seen such an arrogant person in the morning of the night. Senjukuma. Hey, I'm just so arrogant. Closing parenthesis. Uchiha. More arrogance is yet to come. Closing parenthesis. It was simply unforgivable to dare to grab the tailed beast jade and stuff it to eat. It roared and was about to continue pounce on the night morning and attack again. Snap. However, just as the Nine Tails was about to start acting, he suddenly felt that there seemed to be an old person on his head. The Nine Tails was stunned for a moment and raised his eyes to look at the position of his forehead. I saw that at the position of its forehead, there was an extra man wearing a black robe and a spiral mask. Seeing the person on the head, and then sensing the chakra on him, the Nine Tails roared angrily again. It's you, Uchiha, it's that you just controlled Uncle Ben, you go to Uncle Ben. Wang! Before the roar of the Nine Tails was finished, the vertical pupils in its scarlet eyes suddenly disappeared, turning into 3 black jade. Nine Tails. Controlled again. I really didn't expect that he actually awakened Muduan. Uchiha took the soil to stand on the head of the Nine Tails, and the kaleidoscope of chakra eyes under the mask stared deadly. The night morning above the head of the wooden man opposite. Muduan, who has the power to fight against the Nine Tails, seems to be the same Mudun as the Thousand Hand Pillars. Uchiha's face under the soil mask is very ugly. From Uchiha's narration, Brother Tuzi knew what kind of power he would have with a wooden dun like the Thousand Hand Pillars. And Yechin awakened such a power. If he was allowed to grow again, Yechin would definitely become a roadblock in his plan. So, sorry, I can only kill you. Uchiha Obito had already targeted Yechin's body. Although Yechin had taken care of him, for that plan, for Rin, Yechin must die. Meanwhile, above the head of the wooden man in the night morning, there was also an extra person. And this person is none other than the 4th generation of Hokage Wave Feng Shuiman. Seeing the sudden appearance of the Wave Feng Shui Gate, and then looking at the Uchiha belt soil on the head of the Nine Tails on the opposite side, The corners of Yechen's mouth rose slightly, looking at the wave feng shui gate and ridiculing. Water gate, everyone says that you are fast, but why do you drop the chain every time? Quote. When Bofeng Shuamin heard this, he looked at Konoha, which had been ravaged by the Nine Tails at this time, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Yechen, don't laugh at me. Quote. After speaking, he looked at Yechen with a serious face and said, that guy who controls the Nine Tails is the legendary ninja realm Asura Uchiha Madara. We need to be careful. Quote. Yechen rolled his eyes when he heard this. Just the way Uchiha took the soil with his head and tail exposed, if he were Uchiha Spot, I would swallow the Nine Tails whole. Of course, Yechen will not talk to Bofeng Shuamin about this. He just nodded, indicating that he understood. Then again, it's really yours, Yechen, I didn't expect you to continue the legendary Mu Duan. Bofeng Shuamin felt the rich breath of life of the wooden man at his feet, and couldn't help but sigh. HMPH. Yi Chen hugged his chest with both hands, raised his chin, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Thousand Hands Night Morning, the only male member of the Thousand Hands clan, isn't it very reasonable to awaken a wooden escape? Quote. Bofeng Shuamin is speechless. This guy is still pretending to be like that. Be careful, it's coming. When Bofeng Shuamin heard this, he quickly returned to his senses and looked at the Nine Tails on the opposite side with a solemn face. On. The Nine Tails, who were personally controlled by Uchiha Obito, made a big move for Yechen and the wave feng shui gate as soon as he came up. I saw the Nine Tails on all fours, the Nine Tails bent forward, and streams of chakra gathered from all directions. Almost at a speed visible to the naked eye, the nine-tailed beast Jade quickly formed at the front end of the Nine Tails. However, and that's not the end of it. When the nine-tailed beast Jade condensed, the Nine Tails also opened their mouths and began to condense the tailed beast Jade. Not good. Seeing this scene in the morning of the night, the whole person was stunned. This Uchiha belt soil is a bit awesome. Unexpectedly, as soon as he came up, he put a map cannon, full of 10-tailed beast Jade. Is this to blast the entire Konoha into the sky? Mu Dun, Wood Dragon Art. Yi Chen quickly put his hands together, and the chakra riot in his whole body. Quote, wow, 9 wooden dragons came out of the ground and flew towards the Nine Tails. And that's not all. I saw that at the feet of Yechen, a person composed of wood quickly rose and slowly changed into the appearance of Yechen. It is the art of wood doppelganger. Mu Dun, the art of all cloth bags. Yechen's wooden doppelganger had just taken shape, and it also began to seal, and then, holding the wrist of his right hand with his left hand, he grabbed it in the direction of the Nine Tails. Boom, boom, boom. The earth around the Nine Tails shook continuously, and then 4 wooden giant hands rose up and grabbed towards the Nine Tails. HMPH. Uchiha snorted coldly, and then, the kaleidoscope of chakra under his mask turned. Susanoo. Rumble. A half-body giant translucent by blue chakra shrouds the Nine Tails. The moment the half-body Susanoo appeared, he did not hesitate at all, holding a giant sword and swinging it around. Boom, boom. The Nine Tails rose up from the ground around it, grabbed its wooden giant hand, and was instantly smashed by Susanoo. And after Susanoo smashed the wooden giant hand, it disappeared in an instant. Is this really a fight between ninjas? Oh, my God. Quote. This is the power of God, right? Run. Didn't you see that the Nine Tails was going to release the tailed beast Jade? Quote. Did you run? 10-tailed beast Jade. This is 10-tailed beast Jade. The aftermath of the explosion alone is enough to make us die 100 times. Quote. I hope that Lord Yechen and the 4th generation of adults can resist the tailed beast Jade, otherwise Konoha will. Everyone in Konoha village was stunned when they saw such a scene. Is this still a fight between ninjas? This is God and God war, right? Especially the 10-tailed beast Jade gathered by the Nine Tails, the power it exuded alone made people unable to resist. Night morning. Ju Shinai clasped his hands together and looked at the wooden man's back full of worry. And as the strongest Hokage, Ape Flying Sun Chopper has sweat on his forehead at this moment. Have to say, under the peaceful power of the 10-tailed beast Jade, our 3 generations of adults were also afraid. Just when everyone panicked, and the sweat of Ape Flying Sun Chopper and the others exploded, the tailed beast Jade of the Nine Tails had already condensed. A tailed beast jade that was the size of 9 houses and more than 10 meters in diameter flew towards Yechen, the wave feng shui gate, and the entire Konoha. Yi Chen looked at the 10-tailed beast jade flying over, especially the largest tailed beast jade in the middle. To be honest, he had an urge to turn his head and run. Although he obtained the same wooden dun as the Senjukuma and obtained the chakra of Asuras. But he's not 1,000 hand pillars yet. For Mu Duan's experience in use, it is basically zero. Now he is relying on his previous life to see that the Hokage is those tricks combined with Mu Duan. And now, 10-tailed beast jades were sent together, how to break it with Mu Dun without being able to do it in immortal mode. It's quite urgent to wait online. Boom, boom, boom. 10-tailed beast jade, 9 around the largest one with a whistling sound, flew towards the wooden man of the night morning. On the way to fly, the 9 wooden dragons were like tofu, directly smashed and dissipated by the tailed beast jade, and the residual power continued to fly towards the wooden man without abating. Looking at the flying tailed beast jade and feeling the terrifying power contained in the tailed beast jade, Yi Chenshin said that it would be good if there was Rashomon. However, now is not the time to think much. Yechen glanced back at the red figure and gritted his teeth. Mothers. Fought it. Quote. Mudden Muji wall. Yechen, leave these to me. Just as Yechen was about to use the wooden boundary wall to intercept the tailed beast jade, the sound of the wave feng shui gate reached his ears. Suddenly, Yechen stopped moving, looked at the wave feng shui gate, and then came back to his senses. That's right, isn't there still a wave feng shui gate around? This guy can fly the Thunder God technique, so let this guy directly use the Flying Thunder God technique to transfer these tailed beast jade. Yechen's face showed joy. Immediately, Yechen frowned again. In the original work, Bo Feng Shuiman did indeed achieve the feat of transferring tailed beast jade. However, in the original work, the wave feng shui gate is only a transfer. Now 10, did he transfer? You know, the chakra consumed by using the Flying Thunder God technique to transfer objects is not small. Although in the original work, the wave feng shui gate transferred the tailed beast jade of the 10 tails, but that was under the rebirth of filthy soil and had infinite chakra. Today's Bo Feng Shuiman is a big living person, and he doesn't have the bloodline of the Vortex clan. Does he really have such a huge chakra transfer 10-tailed beast jade? At this time, I saw Bo Feng Shuiman step forward, holding a Flying Thunder God Kuwu in both hands, and aimed it in front of him. Watergate, this is 10-tailed beast jade, can you really do it? Yechen asked with some concern. When Bo Feng Shuiman heard this, he tilted his head slightly to look at Yechen. Bet on the name of Hokage, and I will also protect Konoha. Quote. After speaking, he looked ahead with a solemn expression. This is the responsibility of the Hokage. Quote. Yi Chen looked at the imperial god robe with 4 generations of fire shadow printed on its back, and was blown up by the wind, and the handsome backs of a batch really wanted to directly snatch this imperial god robe and put it on himself. Nima, this is too handsome. Flying Thor, Thunder Guide. Seeing the 10 high-speed flying tailed beast jades getting closer and closer, the green tendons in the temples of the wave feng shui gate burst out and roared lowly. Wang, Yi Chen obviously felt the surrounding space for a while, and then he saw that in the space in front of them, mysterious runes appeared, forming a large net. On. The 10-tailed beast jades directly collided with this large net formed by mysterious runes. After the tailed beast jade smashed into the big net, there was no explosion. Instead, it seems to fall in the water, little by little into the space. Everyone in Konoha was stunned to watch this scene, and they couldn't believe that the scene in front of them was real. This is tailed beast jade. Although everyone did not know what kind of destructive power would occur if 10-tailed beast jades exploded at the same time. But they just sensed the power of this beast corn, and they didn't have a trace of resistance in their hearts. And now what do they see? The 4th generation actually relied on their own strength to transfer these 10-tailed beast jade. Boom! Just when everyone was stunned, the 10-tailed beast jades had completely disappeared from sight. Immediately afterwards, on the mountain 100 kilometers away from Konoha village, an earth-shattering explosion reached everyone's ears. Then, a fierce wind carried the scorching temperature towards Konoha. And it was also at this time that everyone in Konoha village came back to their senses. Oh my god, what do I see? 4 generations. 4 generations of adults unexpectedly will transferred the tailed beast Jade. Quote, I can't believe it, I can't believe it, I'm not dreaming, am I? Hiss, why are you hitting me? Quote, I'm not dreaming if I'm trying. Wow, long live the 4 generations of adults, long live the 4 generations of adults. In the past in surprise, everyone in Konoha village turned up. And on top of the wooden man's head, Wave Feng Shui-men wiped a cold sweat on his forehead, looked at Yechin and said, Yechin, Uchiha will be handed over to you, the destructive power of the 9 tails is too great, I must take it out of Konoha. Quote, after Bofeng Shuiman finished speaking, without waiting for Yechin to speak, the whole person jumped towards the 9 tails. Psychic. Air. Bofeng Shui-men bit his thumb and pressed against the void below. Bang. A huge cloud of white smoke exploded in the air, and immediately after, a huge dark red toad fell from the sky and pressed down towards the 9 tails. Here it is. Konoha. Toad boss Buntai looked around for a while, his pupils shrank, and he couldn't believe that this ruin turned out to be Konoha village. Suddenly, the toad boss felt something abnormal under his butt, looked down, and suddenly met a pair of scarlet 3-hook jade eyes, almost didn't scare it to death. Watergate, you're not going to let me deal with the 9 tails, are you? At this time, the wave Feng Shui gate fell on Wentai's head, and in an instant, the toad boss Wentai was dissatisfied. Watergate, let me tell you, I really can't beat the 9 tails. Quote, it's okay, it's just for you to temporarily control it. When Bofeng Shuiman heard this, he smiled, and then, his brows frowned, flying thunder god technique. Quote, swoosh, moment, the huge 9 tails, toad boss Bunta, and the wave Feng Shui gate disappeared into Konoha village. Looking at the wave Feng Shui gate that disappeared as in the original work, Yi Chen was a little lost for a while, as fate really unchangeable. Quote, however, Yechin was only lost for a moment, and he came back to his senses, his eyes sharply looking at Uchiha Obito with a swirling yellow mask in the ruins in front of him. It stands to reason that when the plot gets here, this guy should also leave, right? But what else does this guy want to do now? Don't even leave. Uchiha Obito in the ruins in the distance also seemed to feel Yechin's gaze, and he also looked at Yechin. Immediately, in Yechin's doubtful gaze, Uchiha took the earth with his hands to seal it, and then pressed towards the ground. Psychic. Bang. Yechin watched Uchiha take the soil action, and while wondering, he suddenly became vigilant. Bang. On the opposite side of the night, a huge white smoke rose up, and that night morning after seeing clearly what Uchiha brought out with the earth psychic. His pupils were constricted. This guy actually will roar. As the white smoke dissipated, a giant beast with 3 huge tails and a turtle shell on its back, like a snapping turtle, appeared in everyone's eyes. 3 tails. Yechin took a deep breath and looked at the 3 tails who had been channeled by Uchiha. What is this Uchiha Obito for? Unexpectedly, even the 3 tails were channeled. However, what made Yechin even more unbelievable was still ahead. After Uchiha took the earth to channel the 3 tails, he jumped directly on the head of the 3 tails, and a scarlet kaleidoscope riding wheel eye stared at Yechin and began to spin. Pretty. Susanoo. Swish. Susanoo's translucent blue chakra is attached to Mio. Suddenly, the 3 tails, which originally had a turtle shell, were covered with a layer of blue armor. Moreover, what is even more outrageous is that the 3 tails behind the 3 tails, like 3 arms, each hold 3 long knives. Are you kidding? The 9 tails have just been transferred away by 4 generations, what kind of monster is this? Quote, 3 tails, this is the 3 tails of the Wuyin village, could it be that the Wuyin village is involved in this matter? It's terrible, we don't even have a chance to meddle. Who the hell is that masked man? Controlling the 9 tails, and now controlling the 3 tails, abominable. Quote, Uchiha, although his eyes are a little different from the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan, but he controls the eyes of the tailed beast, which is the pattern of the 3-hook jade Sharingan, that guy is definitely Uchiha. I have long said that Uchiha is unreliable, but I didn't expect that since they did such a thing, first the 9 tails, and now the 3 tails of the Misty Hidden Village, could it be that Uchiha has already defected to the Misty Hidden Village? Looking at the behemoth that reappeared, the ninja of Konoha exploded again. In particular, when someone said that this monster was the 3 tails of the Mist Hidden Village, and that the masked man was from the Uchiha clan. Everyone was boiling. Uchiha family. This is the first clan in Konoha that has not lagged behind the Senju clan. Now, this number 1 clan of Konoha is going to join the Mist Hidden Village to attack Konoha. The discussion of the surrounding people naturally also passed into the ears of the ape Flying Sun. Listening to the discussion around him, and then at the three tails who were pretended by Susanoo, Sarutobi muttered with a gloomy face, "Uchiha, is it really a rebellion against the village?" Quote. And at this time, in the morning of the night, there was no time to take care of these people in Konoha village. He raised his eyes to look at the back mountain of Konoha, hesitated, turned to look at Jushinai who was standing in the distance behind him and shouted, "Jushinai, the water gate and Jawei should be in the back mountain, you go and help them seal the 9 tails." Quote. When Jushinai heard this, he was stunned for a moment, and said a little reluctantly, "What should you do if I leave? The guy who hides his head is not easy to deal with." Quote. After thinking for a while, Jushinai continued, "Although I can't participate in your battle, I can assist you in sealing the 3 tails at a critical moment." Quote. No need. Yechin shook his head and continued to shout, "You go and help Watergate and their couple. Believe me." Quote. When Jushinai heard this, he wanted to say something. But after meeting the gaze of Shang Yechin, she still nodded and headed towards the back mountain. After Jushinai left, Yechin's gaze fell on the Wei Zu again. To be precise, Yechin was looking at Uchiha with soil. And Uchiha Obito was also watching Yechin with that kaleidoscope chakra. Time. The 2 behemoths did not move, as if 2 beasts were waiting for the best time to attack. And the many ninjas of Konoha, watching the silent confrontation between the 2 behemoths, everyone closed their mouths and looked at each other nervously. Moment. The whole Konoha seemed to be quiet at this time. Phew. A whirlwind rolled up a leaf, flew between the 2 behemoths, and slowly fell to the ground. The moment this leaf fell to the ground, the 2 behemoths moved. And this movement, like wave after wave of earthquakes, the earth began to shake continuously. Boom, boom, boom. Uchiha took the soil to control the 3 tails and rushed towards the wooden man. And Yechin was also not to be outdone, and manipulated the wooden man to greet him. Fire, fire extinguished. On top of Mio's head, Uchiha brought soil, and suddenly froze, and immediately after, the mask covering his mouth cracked, revealing his mouth, spitting flames towards the wooden man. At the same time, the 3 tails that Uchiha brought the earth foot to the foot suddenly opened his mouth and spewed out a strong wind against the flames that Uchiha brought out with the soil. Phew, the wind fuels the fire. In an instant, the front of Yechin turned into a sea of fire. Water escape. Great waterfall art. The night morning above the wooden man's head was also quickly sealed, and then, he took a deep breath and spat at the sea of fire. Boom. A blue mist of water instantly collided with the sea of fire. Shish. The flames collided with the water, and suddenly, the entire Konoha was shrouded in mist. However, even in this situation, the wooden man in the night morning, the 3 tails of Uchiha with soil, still did not stop, and the 2 giants collided together in an instant. Boom. The moment these 2 behemoths collided together, a shock wave centered on the 2 spread out in all directions. Woohoo! The thick mist was blown away in an instant, and everyone saw the figures of these 2 behemoths again. I saw that in the field at this time, the wooden man Luohan grabbed the head of the 3 tails with his arm, and wanted to overturn the entire 3 tails. The 3 tails, on the other hand, constantly slapped the wooden figure with their 2 front paws. Tuden Wonkwon Marsh. The night morning above the wooden man's head was so fierce that it was sealed again. Rumble. The earth under the feet of the 3 tails instantly turned into a swamp, and the entire body of the 3 tails began to sink downward. Swish. Meanwhile, behind the 3 tails, holding the tails of the 3 Kai knives, they stabbed down towards the wooden man and Yechin. Seeing this, Yi Chen directly left the top of the wooden man's head with an instantaneous technique. Boom. The moment Yechin left, 3 long knives were directly inserted into the wooden man's body, directly destroying the entire wooden man. Mu done. Tree Realm has arrived. Leaving the top of the wooden man's head, Night Morning landed on a small dilapidated building, hands folded, madly urging chakra. Boom, boom, boom. The earth shook for a while, and then one by one, saplings broke through the ground, and immediately, these saplings quickly grew and turned into large trees. In a short moment, this ruins turned into a sea of trees. However, it's not over yet. The moment the sea of trees took shape, Yechen once again formed a seal and shouted, "Mu dun, wood dragon art." Quote. Wows. Wooden dragons rose up from the sea of trees and pounced on the three tails in all directions. Seeing this, Uchiha took the soil, and the kaleidoscope riding wheel turned his eyes, and the three tails suddenly spun. Boom boom. The three tails instantly turned into a spinning top, directly destroying all the wooden dragons that pounced on it. Mu dun, wooden man art. Suddenly, the voice of the night morning sounded from the sky above the three-tailed spinning top. Immediately afterwards, everyone saw that Yechen controlled the wooden figure, raised his hands, and fell towards the three tails. Ninfa Super Jade Spiral Pill. Father. Air. Above the wooden man raised his hands, a super large spiral pill gathered by chakra formed instantly. This spiral pill was extremely huge, held high by the wooden man, as if it were a blue sun, illuminating the entire Konoha. This. What is it? Quote. Oh my god. Good horror chakra, this. Is this still human? Quote. Snail. Spiral pills. This is a spiral pill developed by the fourth generation of adults in Yechen-sama. Quote. What? The spiral pill was jointly developed by 4 generations of adults and night-morning adults. How is this possible? Wasn't the spiral pill developed by 4 generations of adults alone? Quote. No, when the 4th generation of adults and Lord Yechen developed the spiral pill, it also caused a sensation in Konoha, but later, after Yechen-sama was called waste, the light of 4 generations of adults shrouded Yechen-sama. Quote. Looking at the spiral pill above the sky that resembled a blue sun, everyone in Konoha boiled. This spiral pill was larger than the body of the three tails, and almost enveloped the entire war zone. Wang. At this time, the wooden man had already dragged the huge spiral pill and blasted down towards the three tails. In a flash, white light pierced the darkness. Heaven and earth are as bright as day at this moment. Everyone couldn't help but close their eyes and block the harsh light with their arms. Boom. After a moment of silence, an earth-shattering loud noise resounded throughout the heavens and the earth. Immediately afterwards, a violent wind blew in all directions from the center of the explosion. Suddenly, Konoha, which was originally destroyed by 1/5, was destroyed by 1/5 by this shockwave. I don't know how long it took. When everything returns to calm, everyone quickly looked at the battlefield. Immediately afterwards, everyone's eyes widened and their faces showed shock. I saw that on the battlefield at this time, the original ruins were gone. In exchange for a huge circular crater. Under the giant pit, a turtle shell was broken, pieces of blue chakra armor were shattered, and the three tails with three tails were lying motionless in the pit. Haha. Yechen stood on the edge of the big pit, gasping for air. At this time, the wooden figure had dissipated, and Yechen's face was extremely pale, which was obviously a sign of chakra's overconsumption. No way. Continuous use of Mu Duan, and finally used Woodman to condense a super spiral pill. Even if there is an immortal body in the night morning, it can't bear such consumption. But, although chakra in the night morning almost bottomed out, he still did not let his guard down. His eyes were staring at the big pit lowered, and the Uchiha on the head of the three tails brought soil. At this time, Uchiha Obito on the head of the three tails still looked intact after facing such a powerful attack. However, if you look closely, it is not difficult to find that a drop of blood is dripping from under his mask. And this blood is flowing from his kaleidoscopic riding wheel eyes. Uchiha took the soil to look up at the night morning by the big pit, and the kaleidoscope riding wheel eyes turned. A huge spatial vortex enveloped him and the three tails. The only male member of the Thousand Hands clan, you are very good, I remember you. When Uchiha took the soil and the three tails into the other space, the voice of Uchiha taking the soil reached everyone's ears. Yechen looked at the location where Mitsuha and Uchiha Obito disappeared in the big pit, and was a little speechless for a while. How did this horse release ruthless words after fighting with elementary school students? It's really a child. After such a moment, Yechen also recovered some chakra. He slowly straightened his body, turned around and saw Sarutobi Hinata, rushing over with Konoha's ninja. Yechen, where is the black-robed man and the three tails? Ape Fei came to the edge of the big pit, saw the empty bottom of the big pit, looked at Yechen and asked. Gone. Yechen watched the ape flying sun, really indifferent to him, but still answered. Gone. Thousand Hands Yechen, why did you let him go? Do you know that Guy is the culprit of all this? Moreover, he even controlled the three tails to come to Konoha. He definitely has a situation with the mist-hidden village, you. Before the ape flying sun chop spoke, Shimura Danzo didn't know which corner it came from, and he crossed the ape flying sun chop in one step, and it was an output to the night morning. However, Yechin would not get used to him. A sharp gaze swept over, and the momentum of the shadow-level peak on his body directly erupted. Moment. Shimura Danzo closed his mouth. Everyone present felt the momentum that erupted from Yi Chen's body, and recalled Yi Chen's fierce combat power just now, and they did not dare to breathe. Yechin stared at Shimura Tuanzo for a few seconds before retracting his momentum, and said in an indifferent tone, "You actually know that person is related to Wuyin Village, then you go to Wuyin Village to arrest him, don't be if you don't have the ability." Quote. You. When Shimura Tuan heard this, he suddenly felt a pang of breath. Since he became the leader of the Roots, when did he suffer such anger? Okay. Sarutobi Hinata stopped Shimura Danzo's words, looked at Yechin, and said with a smile on his face, "Not bad, I didn't expect that as the only male member of the teacher's family," he continued Mudden at the critical moment of Konoha, "the Senju clan is worthy of being the guardian of Konoha, Yechin you are very good." Quote. Yechin didn't want to turn his face with Ape Flying Sun so quickly at this time, and after listening to Ape Flying Sun's words, although he didn't have a good face, he still nodded and was about to say something. Suddenly, there was a burst of explosions from the back mountain of Konoha. Seeing this, Yechin quickly looked at the back mountain, and then his face changed, and he quickly rushed towards Konoha. Disgusted by the two flies Shimura Danzo and Sarutobi Hibi, he almost forgot that there were still 9 tails that had not been solved. Moreover, Ju Shinai also went to the back mountain. If Ju Shinai had some accident, then he really had no place to cry. Ape Flying Sun and the others also heard the situation in the back mountain, and everyone didn't care about anything else, and quickly followed Yechin towards the back mountain of Konoha. When he arrived at Konoha back mountain in the morning and saw the scene in front of him, the whole person was stunned in place. Immediately afterwards, Yechin was dazed. Because, the scene at this time is almost exactly the same as in the original work. The 9 tails were bound by golden chains and lay on the ground. And one of the fingers of the 9 tails penetrated the wave feng shui gate and the body of Uzumaki Jiawei from behind. Above the void behind the water gate, a translucent, biting dagger Grim Reaper was levitating and watching. And in front of the Watergate couple, there is an altar around when candles are lit. And among the altars was a baby with blonde hair in his swaddling. However, there is some difference from the original book that Ju Shinai was also not far from the Watergate couple at this time, and also wrapped the 9 tails with a King Kong blockade. Naruto, don't be a picky eater, eat well, and grow up quickly. And, make good friends, even if there are not many of them. Quote. Truly trustworthy friends, a few will do. And, speaking of the 3 prohibitions, be careful of Jiraiya teacher. Quote. Naruto, you may experience a lot of painful and sad things in the future, you must keep yourself and stick to your dreams. And, you must also be full of self-confidence and persist in working hard to achieve the dreams in your heart. Quote. And there is more. I really have many more things I want to teach you. Quote. I want to watch you grow up together, I want to think about it. Naruto, Mom loves you. Uzumaki Jiawei, who also has long red hair, has blood in her mouth and tears at the same time, and looks at the little Naruto in front of her with reluctance. Not far away, Ju Shinai, looking at the appearance of her good sister, also burst into tears. Outside the ceiling enchantment, Yi Chen looked at this scene, and the whole person was still in a dazed state. Is Bofeng Shuaman still dying? Just like in the original book, he cast the ghoul seal and died of the 9 tails, but unlike the original book, he changed Naruto's mother. Is there any difference between this and not changing? Is it true that fate cannot be changed? No, fate has been changed, at least. She is already different. Quote. Yi Chen suddenly hit a spirit, instantly came back to his senses, and looked at Ju Shinai in the ceiling enchantment. Truly, this scene looks no different from the original. But in fact, many things have changed a lot because of the existence of the night. For example, in the original work, Uchiha Obito did not channel the 3 tails. Another example is Ju Shinai, she did not become a 4th-generation lady, and she is fine. Moreover, these changes were made before he had no strength. Today, in the era of the Six Paths, he is almost the sealing combat power of the ninja world. With his strength, he can change the fate of more people. Sealed in the enchantment. Jiawei, we are running out of time. Bofeng Shuimin looked at the little Naruto in the altar with a gentle smile on his face. Naruto, mother's words, you must remember, oh. Quote. Saying that, Bofeng Shuimin turned his head to look at Ju Shinai, who was not far away, and burst into tears. Ju Shinai, I will trouble you to help take care of Naruto in the future. Quote. I will. Ju Shinai nodded. Bofeng Shuimin also smiled, and then, looking at Yechin outside the sealing enchantment, nodded to Yechin, hesitated, and looked at Ju Shinai again. The power of the Nine Tails is too huge, Naruto is still so small, if it is completely sealed to Naruto, his body may not be able to support it. Quote. Originally, I planned to seal half of the power of the Nine Tails into my body, but I thought about it. If half of the power of the Nine Tails is sealed into my body, then the Nine Tails may only have half of the power forever. After all, now that I cast the Ghoul seal, my soul will be permanently sealed in my belly by the Grim Reaper. The Nine Tails are Konoha's property, I can't be so selfish. I mean, Ju Shinai, the other half of the nine-tailed power, sealed into you. Of course, if you don't agree, it's okay. Quote. Yes. Hearing this, Ju Shinai hesitated for a moment, nodded, and then glanced at little Naruto. Otherwise, seal all the nine tails on me. After all, you also know the suffering of being a human pillar. Quote. When Uzumaki Jiawei heard this, he looked at the wave feng shui gate with a slight head full of expectation. The pain of human pillar force, how could she not know about her as the previous generation human pillar force? And she and Bofeng Shuimin are about to die, she really doesn't want her son to suffer what she has suffered again. Seeing his wife's expectant eyes, Bofeng Shuimin smiled gently, and then, looking at little Naruto with expectant eyes, Jiraiya-sensei once told me that the entire ninja world may usher in a big change, so Jiraiya-sensei traveled to the ninja world just to find the child of destiny that the Toad Fairy said. I had a hunch that our little Naruto might be the person Jiraiya-sensei was looking for. And the power of the Nine Tails may cause a lot of trouble for little Naruto, but this is also the power that I left to him as a father. Quote. After Bofeng Shuimin finished speaking, he looked at his wife, Jiawei, believe our son, okay. Quote. When Yoshi Uzumaki heard this, she nodded with tears in her eyes, and her gaze fell on little Naruto, her eyes full of reluctance. Seeing this, Bofeng Shui Gate took one last look at little Naruto, and immediately, a seal was formed. Woohoo! With the seal of the wave Feng Shuimin, he would not be the Grim Reaper in the void, stretched out his hand, and directly passed through the body of the water gate, and then a blue chakra arm passed through the body of the water gate and grabbed the Nine Tails. Roar! Fourth generations. The Nine Tails were blocked by Uzumaki Jiawei and Ju Shinai's King Kong, trapped by death, unable to resist the god of death. It could only be pulled out half of the chakra origin by the god of death under the unwilling roar, and directly sealed in Ju Shinai's body. Ahem. After half of the Nine Tails power of the wave feng shui gate was sealed in Ju Shinai's body, he immediately coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Immediately, he endured again, manipulated the Grim Reaper, and sealed the entire Nine Tails in little Naruto's body. When all this was done, Bofeng Shuimin glanced at his wife, who had lost her breath of life, and then looked at little Naruto. Naruto, goodbye. Quote. After Bofeng Shuimin said these words, he also lost his breath of life. And at this time, Yechin and Ape Flying Sun and others also came. Night morning, Jiawei and Watergate. After seeing Yechin, Ju Shinai threw herself directly into his arms and cried. Yechin hugged Ju Shinai tightly and looked at the corpse of Bofeng Shui Gate and Uzumaki Jiawei with a complicated expression. Alas! Ape Fei Ri looked at the corpses of the couple of Bofeng Shuimin and sighed, and his heart was full of guilt. As for what he feels guilty about, perhaps only he knows. Ape Fly, the nine-tailed man pillar power will be handed over to me. At this moment, an extremely annoying voice reached everyone's ears. Ape Fly, the nine-tailed human pillar power will be handed over to me to cultivate. I promise, I can definitely train him into Konoha's ultimate weapon. Just when the scene was saddened by the death of the Bofeng Shuimin couple, an extremely annoying voice reached everyone's ears. When Ape Fei Richo heard this voice, his face suddenly changed. Tuanzang, old dog, you are looking for death. Mu Dun, wood dragon art. Wow. Before everyone could react, he saw a wooden dragon rise up into the sky and rush directly towards Shimura Danzo, who had just arrived. Boom. The ground shook for a while, and the position where Tuanzang was just located was directly smashed out of a big pit. Night morning, Shimura came out from the other side in embarrassment. If he hadn't used the avatar technique and the transience technique at a critical moment, I am afraid that he would have been killed. Old dog, do you really want to find death? Just now, Yechen didn't really want to kill Tuanzang, otherwise, based on Tuanzang's few strokes, as well as his bitter nothingness, he only thought that he could stab his wooden man. Tuanzang was so angry that the three corpses jumped violently, but he also knew the power of the night morning. He could only look at the ape flying sun and slashed. Ape flying, the nine-tailed human pillar force can no longer have accidents, and handing it over to me is the best choice. Quote. You fart. Zhu Shinai, who had already held little Naruto in his arms, heard Tuanzang's words and directly scolded. If I hand over little Naruto to you as a sinister guy, then am I still worthy of Jiawei and Watergate? Don't forget, just now Watergate they handed over little Naruto to my care. Watergate, as the fourth generation of Hokage, he just died for the village, and Naruto, as the son of a hero, will be cultivated into a weapon by you. Are you worthy of Watergate? Quote. Zhu Shinai said, and also looked meaningfully at Sarutobi Hinata and Shimura Danzo. I am also a human pillar force of the Nine Tails now, do you want to cultivate me into a weapon as well? Quote. Shimura Danzo heard this, and wanted to say that this could not be better. However, seeing Zhu Shinai beside him, holding his hands to his chest, looking at his night morning, he closed his mouth in amusement. No way, he really can't do the night morning with Mu Duan. Meantime, after this time, Tuanzang longed even more for Mu Dun's power. And Zhu Shinai looked at Tuanzang, who did not dare to make a sound, and felt a cheerful in his heart. In the past, she was upset with this old guy. However, due to the decline of the Thousand Hands clan, her strength can only be said to be possible, and she does not have the guts to confront this old fellow. However, this is not the case now. She's a great man. Awakened the legendary Mu Duan. Moreover, the strength is also not wanted. With a backer, she still needs to be afraid of this old guy. Still want to hand over little Naruto to them. What are you kidding? Little Naruto turned out to be entrusted by the fourth generation to the care of Zhu Shinai. Then let's bring it back. Although my Senju clan has declined, it is not a problem to raise a little guy. What do you think? 3 generations. Quote. Yi Chen watched the ape flying sun, although it seemed to be discussing, but in fact, there was no room for him to discuss. It was almost a hammer. In fact, Yechen did not want to discuss anything with Ape Fei Ri about this matter. Not to mention that he didn't like the ape flying sun, coupled with the decline of the Thousand Hands clan, and the assassination of him, all have something to do with this old guy, and want him to be polite to this old guy. He really can't do it. If it weren't for the fact that the Senju clan had declined, the attitude of the other ninja clans was unknown, and there was no one available, he would want to rebel directly. Ape Flying Sun Chopper also heard the disrespect in Yi Chen's tone, but he was deeply scheming, and after thinking about it for a moment, he nodded and looked at Yi Chen and said, of course, little Naruto can be left to you to take care of, but about little Naruto's background, I hope you can hide it for the time being. After all, Konoha had just experienced such an incident, and the other ninja villages would probably not be able to hold back. There are many enemies of the fourth generation, and it would not be a good thing for Naruto to let people know that little Naruto is the son of the fourth generation. Quote. After Ape Flying Sun finished speaking, his eyes stared at Yi Chen. Yechen faced the gaze of the Ape Flying Sun and smiled disdainfully. The little calculation of the Ape Flying Sun, how could he not know? The reason why this old guy didn't let people know that Naruto was the son of the fourth generation was that he wanted to regain his seat in the Hokage's position. After all, the performance of the fourth generation in this Nine Tails rebellion, although there is the appearance of Yechen, the reputation is not as great as in the original book. However, that is also much stronger than the 3 generations. The fourth generation of people at least transferred the tailed beast Jade, and directly transferred the 9 tails, and finally sacrificed because of the sealing of the 9 tails. And what about the Ape Flying Sun? A little stronger than in the original work, at least not like in the original book, just poke the nine tails with a stick. However, compared with the 4 generations, his ape flying sun slash is still not enough to see. Moreover, because the 4th generation was sealed to die with the 9 tails, the people of Konoha are naturally grateful to the 4th generation, and everyone is remembering the good of the 4th generation. At this time, if everyone knows, Naruto is the orphan of the 4th generation. Then, when everyone sees Naruto, they think of the 4th generation. And in this way, it is not a good thing to regain the position and rule Konoha's ape flying sun. Yechin looked at the serious old face of Ape Fei Richo and knew that this was the bottom line of this old fellow. Yi Chen, who was not ready for the time being, had to nod to him, yes. Quote, saying that, he really didn't want to pay attention to these people's night mourning, and waved his hand. The aftermath of the Watergate couple, you deal with it, I'll go and participate when the time comes, so be it. Quote. After that, Yechin took Ju Shinai and little Naruto and left here. Ape Fei, this guy is too lawless to let him go down like this. After Yechin left, Tuan Zhang said to the ape flying sun with a gloomy face. Ape Fei re-glanced at Tuan Zhang, and then said indifferently, how about you teach him to be polite? Quote. Ape Fei, you. Tuan Zhang was immediately furious when he heard this. Special code, what do you mean by this? Let me go and teach him manners. Are you telling me to die quickly and not worry about the location of the Hokage? Well, wait a minute, the 4th generation is now dead, isn't the Hokage position empty? My chance has come. Ahem. Danzo coughed, and then, looking at Sarutobi seriously, he said, Sarutobi, the 4th generation has been sacrificed, and I am also very sad about this, but Konoha can't do without Hokage, So, I decided, for the sake of Konoha, to return to the role of Hokage and temporarily manage Konoha until the 5th generation is determined. Without waiting for Tuan Zhang to finish speaking, Ape Flying Sun Chopper directly spoke. Tuan Zhang. I stepped on the horse. Wow, wow, wow. The Senju clan, who had always been silent, brought a trace of anger at this moment because of the arrival of little Naruto. In the middle of the night, Yechin had just returned home with Ju Shinai, and the little Naruto, who was sleeping soundly, maybe hungry, cried directly. And the two people, who had no experience in taking care of children, were suddenly in a hurry. Finally, he warmed up some milk in the morning and barely let Naruto drink it, which was able to calm down. I'll go, this horse is more tiring than fighting with the 9 tails. Yechin looked at the sleeping little Naruto and couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Less complaining, didn't you say that you always say that you like children? Now there is not one. Quote. After Ju Shinai cleaned up, he sat next to Yechin, watched little Naruto sleep together, and whispered. Yechin's hand stopped Ju Shinai's waist and whispered in her ear, I like our child, or should we have one? Quote. The hot wind next to his ears blew Ju Shinai's entire face red. Hearing Yechin's words, Ju Shinai spread out at him and rolled his eyes, you better think about solving the matter between you and Makoto. Quote. Hey, what's going on with Makoto? She's your best friend, I have nothing to do with her. Yechin said with some weakness. Ju Shinai threw Yechin a roll of her eyes again, and slowly got up and said, something without conscience, Ren Makoto almost became the patriarch's wife in the beginning, you said this, how sad it would be if Makoto knew it. Quote. How about taking Makoto over? When Yechin heard this, he became even more weak-hearted. Since the relationship between Ju Shina and Uchiha Makoto is very good, and they are in the same class, Yechin's relationship with Uchiha Makoto is also good, and even, Yechin can feel that Uchiha Makoto agrees with him a little. It's just that because of Ju Shinai's relationship, he and Makoto are just good friends. And Uchiha Makoto is the granddaughter of the great elder of the Uchiha clan. At the beginning, Uchiha Fugaku's father wanted to marry the great elder Uchiha and asked to marry Uchiha Makoto to pave the way for Uchiha Fugaku. However, he was directly rejected by Makoto Uchiha. In the end, in desperation, Uchiha Fugaku married Uchiha Makoto's cousin. Therefore, because of the appearance of Yechin, the mothers of the two male protagonists in the Fire Shadow have changed. When Ju Shinai heard Yi Chen's words, he put one hand in his waist, twisted his ear with the other, and said with a dangerous light in his eyes, okay. Say, have you been premeditated with Makoto for a long time? Quote. Didn't. No, absolutely nothing. Lord Yechin, who was able to fight hand to hand with the Nine Tails, was suppressed by the new Nine Tails pillar force at this time, and it was still a half Nine Tails human pillar force. Yechin covered his ears and begged for mercy again and again. I'll just make a joke, just kidding, Makoto is your good girlfriend, how dare I attack her? Quote. So, if Makoto wasn't my best friend, would you dare? Jushinai squinted and looked at Yechin. Nope, don't dare, really don't dare, I promise you, I will definitely not say a word to Makoto in the future. Yechin hurriedly replied. Oh, do you dislike Makoto? Jushinai continued to send out soul torture. The night morning is about to cry. What does this special code want me to do? Jushinai couldn't help but smile when she saw Yi Chen's appearance. She loosened and screwed Yechin's ears, and immediately, hugged Yechin, and pressed her little face to his chest. Wait a while, you go to Uchiha. Quote. Yi Chen, who was glad to have escaped a catastrophe, heard Jushinai's words, and his body suddenly froze. Without waiting for Jushinai to reply, Yechin heard her continue. The three of us have grown up together since childhood, although Makoto has been secretly with us many times because of family reasons, and the contact time is not as much as I have with you. However, I don't know when Makoto liked you. However, one thing you don't know is that Uchiha Fugaku's father originally took over the position of patriarch smoothly for Uchiha Fugaku. I personally went to kiss Makoto's grandfather. Makoto's grandfather actually agreed, but because Makoto's death forced him, he finally awakened the Sengo Yushu Sharingan and obtained her grandfather's approval, so he changed Makoto's cousin and married Uchiha Fugaku. Before you didn't have the strength, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan didn't deal with it, and I didn't dare to say anything, but now you have awakened Mudun and have enough strength. You can't live up to Makoto's expectations anymore. Quote. When Yechin heard Jushinai's words, his heart trembled. He didn't expect that there was such a secret about Uchiha Fugaku's kiss at the beginning. At first, he just thought that Makoto refused, and his grandfather did not embarrass her. But he didn't expect that Makoto was forced to die, and finally awakened the Sengo Jade Riding Wheel Eye and showed its potential, in exchange for such a result. No wonder at the beginning, Uchiha Makoto didn't come to them for more than half a year. It turned out to be because things were like this. However, to put it simply, it was all caused by his lack of strength. Yechin came back to his senses and looked at Jushinai in his arms with a puzzled face. So generous. You asked me to go to Uchiha to pick up Makoto, aren't you angry? Quote. Yechin was dazed. He knew that although this girl Jushinai looked very grinning, she was also a small vinegar jar. HMPH. When Jushinai heard this, he raised his head and snorted coldly, and then pinched Yi Chen's face and said, if it weren't for the fact that the Thousand Hands clan wants you to revive now, do you think I'm not generous? Quote. Hehe, in fact, you can also revive the Thousand Hands clan. When Yi Chen heard this, he was moved in his heart and said with a smile on his face. Die. Jushinai rolled her eyes when she heard this, and then raised her chin and said, Miss Ben is a princess of the Vortex clan, not a Sao, so you want to revive the Senju clan, don't count on me. Quote. Yes, what my royal highness said is, how dare you bother you with this kind of thing? Yechin hurriedly fawned over the way. Hey, Jushinai didn't know what to think, and a smile like a little fox appeared on her face. Yechin was a little hairy in her heart by her laughter. What are you doing? Quote. Jushinai squinted his eyes and stared at Yi Chen, with a meaningful smile on his face. Yi Chen-kun, you see that you are now the only male member of the Thousand Hands clan, and you have awakened Mudun again, for the revival of the Thousand Hands clan, for Mudun to be passed on, you say, you and Tsunade's sister's children, do you have a greater chance of awakening Mudun? Quote. If two people of the Thousand Hands clan have Mudun, then isn't it a stretch across the ninja realm? Quote. Jushinai said at the end, both narrowed eyes, both glowing. When Yechin heard this, he thought of Tsunade's face. Nai had a big heart and swallowed his saliva. Just when Yechin was talking with Jushinai about the revival of Senju. Inside a secret room, Konoha F4, Sarutobi Hinata, Shimura Danzo, Mito Menyon, and Kaharu 4, looking at each other and silent. In the secret room, there is silence. All right, tell us what you think. Quote. I don't know how long it took. Ape Fairy spat out a smoke ring, lowered his head slightly, and shrugged his eyelids and spoke. Mito Menyon, turning Sleep Kaharu and the two looked at each other, and did not immediately speak. Because, they know that there is a person who must have something to say. Sure enough, when Shimura Danzo heard the words of the ape flying sun, he immediately raised his head and looked directly at the ape flying Sunchop. Ape Fly, the nine-tailed human pillar force cannot be handed over to Yechen's care, otherwise, with his strength, plus the nine-tailed, soon after, Konoha may have the surname Senju again. Quote. When Mito Menyon and the others heard this, they looked at the ape flying sun. And after Sarutobi took a puff of smoke, he looked at Shimura Danzo and said, if you can get the nine-tailed human pillar force from Yichen's hands, then the nine-tailed human pillar force will be cultivated for you. Quote. Ape Fei, what do you mean? Knowing that the night morning of awakening Mudun is powerful, you let me ask for human pillar power. Quote. Shimura Danzo is not stupid, let him go and ask for someone from Yechen himself, then didn't he go to find death? Sarutobi glanced at Shimura Danzo, and then said lightly, the three wars have just ended, and Konoha has experienced this Nine-Tails rebellion, and even 4 generations have been sacrificed. I am afraid that the several major ninja villages will not be settled, and Konoha will not be able to draw troops back now. Quote. As Sarutobi said, as the first ninja village in the ninja world, how can Konoha not have a little background? And this time the Nine-Tails rebellion, the reason why there was such a big sacrifice, even Konoha village was almost destroyed by 2/5. This is all because most of the ninjas and elites in Konoha village are all on the border. In addition, the Nine-Tails were released directly in Konoha by Uchiha Obito, a person with spatial pupil skills. Otherwise, with Konoha's strength and the village's defensive enchantment, it would be difficult to enter Konoha. So, that's it, Ape Fei, you know, that's the Nine-Tails. Quote. Yechen has awakened Mudun now, it can be said that he has completely inherited the name of the Thousand Hands clan, plus his record in fighting the Nine-Tails and the Three Tails, his prestige, it won't take long, I'm afraid even you can't compare, right? Shimura Danzo heard the words of the ape flying sun, rolled his eyes, and said with a sneer in his heart. He knows this guy too well about the ape flying sun. This guy said that he is a hypocrite who really wants to be AB and build a Torii. His attachment to the Hokage position was no less than his. Moreover, for his feathers, it is even more cherished. This battle in Yechen not only became the hero of Konoha, but also awakened the original Muduan, and his reputation was bound to rise. Can this ape endure the flying sun? Shimura Danzo didn't believe it at all. Really, when Shimura Danzo's words were finished, Sarutobi Hibiki's hand holding the dry smoke shook, and immediately calm returned. Isn't Kusina and Naruto now the incarnation of the Nine-Tails? Villagers have a right to know. Quote. Ape Fei raised his eyelids and said this nonchalantly. When Shimura Tuanzang heard this, he was first stunned, frowned and pondered for a moment, and then, he gave a thumbs up to Ape Fei. Hi, really hi, Ape Fei, you are really much more sinister than the old man. Quote. Let the villagers of Konoha use Kushina and Naruto as the avatars of the Nine-Tails. Didn't this step on the horse allow everyone in Konoha village to transfer all their hatred to the two? To know, tonight's Nine-Tails rebellion was a sudden attack. The battlefield still broke out in the downtown area of Konoha, and just the civilians did not know how many died tonight. If everyone transferred their hatred to Kushina and Naruto, those fools of Konoha would not hate them. What is Ju Shinai's identity? Everyone in Konoha knows that this is Yomochan's girlfriend. And Naruto was taken in by Yakin. The existence of hatred that everyone in these two Konoha was all taken in by Yichen. It is difficult to ensure that those fools will not transfer their hatred to Yechen as well. Even if you can't completely transfer hatred to Yichen, it can suppress Yichen's prestige. Hi, it is worthy of being an ape flying, and in terms of these intrigues and tricks, he is really inferior to the village group. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Sarutobi looked at Shimura Danzo with a dazed look. Obviously, the ape who has always cherished feathers will not carry such a pot. HMPH. Shimura Danzo, who knew that the cauldron fell on his head again, snorted coldly, and without speaking, another large cauldron fell on his head. Ahem. Mito Menyon, who had not spoken and did not want to participate in these sensitive topics, coughed lightly, and then said, Konoha passed through the 9 tails and 3 tails, and the commercial street is almost in ruins, and it is imperative to rebuild the commercial street. And the Uchiha clan. Xiaochun also spoke at this time. Although this incident may have nothing to do with the Uchiha clan, the black-robed man who controls the 9 tails and the 3 tails is obviously from the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha family bears this responsibility no matter what. Quote, HMPH. Speaking of the Uchiha clan, Shimura Danzo has something to say. The teacher once said that the Uchiha clan is the factor of Konoha's instability. Sarutobi, when the situation is stable, the Uchiha clan will be handed over to me. Quote, Senjuma. Did I say anything like that? Closing parenthesis. Mito Menyon, turning to sleep. Koharu heard Shimura Danzo's cold words, and immediately shivered. This Nima, what is Tuanzang for? Directly destroyed Uchiha. Click. Ape Fei Ri knocked on the table, looked straight at Tuanzang, and said seriously, how to deal with the affairs of the Uchiha family, this will be discussed later. Speaking of this, Sarutobi thought for a while, and then continued, let the people of the Uchiha clan move to Area 5. Quote, when the 3 of Shimura Tuanzang heard this, they were stunned. This is to completely marginalize the Uchiha family. Who doesn't know, District 5 is already on the edge of Konoha. Even, there are some areas that go out of Konoha's enchantment. Now the ape flying sun slashed directly through the Uchiha family there, is this trying to force the rebellion against Uchiha? Moment. The 3 of Shimura Danzo looked at the gaze of the ape flying sun, and all became strange. Nima, this old guy is really sinister. Sarutobi Hinata thought that he didn't see the eyes of the 3, and after thinking about it, he continued, tomorrow, let the ninja clan of Konoha, as well as the upper ninja of Konoha, all come over to a meeting to discuss the reconstruction of Konoha. Quote, speaking of this, Ape Fei Ri paused and continued, remember to inform Thousand Hands Yechin to come over as well. Quote, and just when the 4 crouching dragon phoenix chicks in Konoha were having a small meeting. The news of Konoha's attack by the 9 tails spread like snowflakes to the 4 great shinobi villages. Oh no, it should be the 3 major ninja villages. After all, the current shadow of the ninja village has just controlled the 9-tailed, 3-tailed attack on Konoha. The information he got was more detailed than the shadows of the other shinobi villages. Meantime, the news that Mudun had reappeared in the ninja world, as well as Yechin's intelligence, also appeared in front of the shadows of the 3 major ninja villages. Land of Thunder, Union Village, inside the Lei Ying office. Haha. The 4th generation of Lei Kji, who was tall and strong, with bulging muscles and dark red skin, looked at the intelligence in front of him and said that Konoha was actually attacked by the 9 tails in his village. Aren't those guys in Konoha boasting that their means of controlling the tailed beast are awesome? What's going on now? Ha ha. Quote, Ailien didn't finish reading the information, and laughed directly. Since the original Hokage divided the tailed beast, there have been cases of tailed beasts running away in all major ninja villages. And only Konoha, the first Hokage Mudden suppressed, and the Uzumaki clan's sealing technique seal. This leads to, whenever the tailed beasts in the major ninja villages stormed away, they all made Konoha see the joke. To this end, several great ninja villages simply united and directly destroyed the Uzumaki clan and snatched the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan. Speaking of this whirlpool, in fact, several great ninja villages originally just wanted to grab some of the sealing techniques that could seal the tailed beast. After all, the Uzumaki clan has been with Konoha since the Sengoku period. Oh no, it should be said that he is friendly with the Senju clan. They moved the Uzumaki clan, and in their opinion, Konoha would not stand idly by. However, the truth was unexpected by several shinobi villages. Ape Flying Sun cut these crouching dragon and phoenix chicks, and actually watched the Vortex clan being destroyed, and did not send troops to support. This can make several great ninja villages happy. Therefore, several major ninja villages did not do too endlessly, and simply destroyed the Whirlpool clan, wanting to snatch the entire inheritance of the Whirlpool clan. However, at the critical moment, the Thousand Hands clan who got the news made a move. He also brought back Konoha, the princess of the Uzumaki clan who carried all the inheritance, Kushina. This made the few great ninjas, who had worked hard for most of the day, only got some low-level sealing techniques, and they didn't even get a few hairs. And the famous reckless man in the ninja world, how could Union Village be willing to settle it like this? Thereupon, furious, I directly ordered the spies lurking in Konoha to find an opportunity to tie the only inheritor of the Uzumaki clan back to Union Village. In fact, at that time, I did not expect these spies to be able to kidnap successfully. After all, that was the only inheritor who kidnapped the Uzumaki clan in Konoha. However, in fact, people were taken aback again, and the spies lurking in Konoha actually succeeded. In addition, the princess of the Uzumaki clan was brought out of Konoha. Although in the end, it was saved by the people of the Senju clan. But this also made I see clearly the instability inside Konoha. Lord Lei Ying, you better laugh after reading all the information. Abuyi, who had silver hair, wheat-colored skin, and a formal suit, looked at I who was laughing, and his face was a little solemn and reminded. Oh, when the fourth generation of Lei Ying heard this, he was slightly stunned, and then he saw the solemn Azabui, the smile on his face converged, and he picked up the information seriously and looked at it. When he saw that the culprit of the Konoha Nine Tails rebellion was a black-robed man with kaleidoscopic chakra eyes, he frowned. When he saw that the black-robed man not only controlled the nine-tailed attack on Konoha, but also channeled the three tails of the mist-hidden village to Konoha, the expression on his face could no longer be described as serious. Instead, he put on a somewhat jealous look. This black-robed man could even control the nine tails and three tails. Then controlling the other tailed beasts is definitely not a problem. If this guy came to such a wave in Union Village, the fourth generation of Lei Ying, the more you think about it, the uglier your face will become. What? Unexpectedly awakened Mu Duan. Quote, when the fourth generation of Lei Ying saw Yechen's intelligence, he directly exclaimed. If the black-robed man controlled the tailed beast to attack Konoha, it just made him feel jealous. And as the only male member of the Thousand Hands clan, he actually awakened Mu Dun and suppressed the news of the tailed beast, which was simply able to shake him over. Because, if Mu Dun is a faith for Konoha, then, for the ninja world, Mu Dun is simply a blood succession limit that is more terrifying than the tailed beast. Although the Thousand Hand Pillar looks a little unreliable, the title of the god of the ninja world is not boasted. And the god of the ninja world, Mu Duan, who is famous in the ninja world, has been famous in the ninja world for a long time. If Mu Duan, who had disappeared for many years, reappeared in the ninja world, how could he not be shocked? A moment later, the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow read all the information. However, even if it was the death of the fourth generation of Hokage Wave Feng Shuiman, the fourth generation of Lei Ying was not surprised. All he was thinking about now was Mu Duan. I, who had been silent for a long time, rubbed his eyebrows and sighed. The heritage of Konoha is really terrible. Not only do they have the famous name of the ninja world, but the two major pupil families, and now Mu Dun has reappeared in the ninja world. Is it possible that our Union Village does not have the life to suppress the ninja world? Quote, especially this Sharingan and Mu Duan, the former can control the tailed beast and has the terrifying pupil technique, and the latter has the potential to suppress the tailed beast and calm the ninja world, this specialty. The fourth generation of Lei Ying said, and he wanted to scold his mother. This special code god also takes care of Konoha too much, right? Lord Raikage, then how do we deal with Konoha now? Could it be that you want to unite with other ninja villages and fight Konoha again? Azabui asked equally worriedly. When the fourth generation of Lei Ying heard this, he shook his head. The three wars have just ended, the village needs to rest and recuperate now, it is impossible to fight again, but... When the fourth generation of Lei Ying said this, his reckless expression revealed some shrewdness. Through the Uzumaki clan, as well as the kidnapping of the princess of the Uzumaki clan, I can see that these high-level Konoha are almost the same as the undercover agents we sent, hit Konoha village, more ruthless than us. Unexpectedly, our Union Village does not have these powerful blood succession limits, so wouldn't it be good if we brought it back ourselves? Quote. When Azabui heard this, he was slightly stunned, and then asked, are you saying that the people who kidnapped the Uchiha clan came back like when they kidnapped Jushinai? Quote. Abui didn't dare to say that he would kidnap Yechen, who owned Mudu. As far as the intelligence description of Yechen's strength, I am afraid that the kidnapping of Yechen will not even be able to do Lei Ying. That's why she said that she was going to kidnap the Uchiha family. After all, This time the Nine Tails incident, the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan, is also one of the protagonists. However, when the fourth generation of Lei Ying heard Azabui's words, he shook his head. The Uchiha clan is a group of madmen, and if the people who kidnapped the Uchiha clan come back, it is inevitable that these madmen will do something. Now Union Village is the time to recuperate, and it is not appropriate to start a big war. Quote. When Azabui heard this, he was a little confused. After pondering for a moment, a smile appeared on his face and said, Konoha is not just the Uchiha family, this pupil family. Unexpectedly, the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan can evolve to the point of controlling the tailed beast, then. As a chakra eye with the Uchiha family, the same famous white eye, should also have the possibility of evolution, right? Moreover, the Hyuga clan is different from Uchiha's group of madmen, not to mention the matter of a family being divided into clans. Just over the years, the Hyuga clan has been trained by the ape Flying Sun. Even if they lose some clansmen, they dare not blow up, right? Quote. Speaking of this, Lei Ying's smile became even brighter. Azabui, you go and plan, and when the village recovers some vitality in the past 2 years, let's have another plan to introduce pupil techniques. Yes, the incident of the Nine Tails rebellion in Konoha, and the information of Mu Duan's reappearance in the ninja world, was transmitted to the shadows of the major ninja villages. The shadows of the major ninja villages are almost similar to the situation of the Thunder Shadows. Although Konoha was very weak at this time, they were also very jealous of Mu Dun and wanted to strangle Yechin in the cradle. However, since the 3 wars had just ended, all the ninja villages did not want to start a big war again. So, several ninja villages bordering the Land of Fire, only after making defensive gestures on the border. As if he didn't know about Konoha's situation, he didn't make any other moves. But in the dark, it can be described as an undercurrent. The next morning, when the sun shines on the earth, the darkness is dispelled. The whole world seemed to come back to life. However, for Konoha village, which has just experienced the Nine Tails rebellion, today is undoubtedly a gloomy day. At this time, in Konoha village, not only many buildings and houses were destroyed, but also so many people died. Therefore, almost all of Konoha was doing funerals. And most importantly, today there are also 4 generations of Hokage couples' funerals. 1,000 Hands Clan, in the mansion of the Night Morning. Night Morning, it's time to go. Quote, dressed in black, Jushina held little Naruto in his arms and shouted towards Yi Chen's room. Good. Inside the room, there was the sound of the Night Morning. Then, Yi Chen, also dressed in black with a white flower hanging from his chest, walked out of the room. Yechin and Ju Shinai came out of the Senju clan together and headed towards the cemetery. Along the way, I met many people, also dressed in black, and rushed towards the cemetery. As soon as Yechin and Kushina joined the crowd, the ninjas of Konoha found the 3 of Yechin. The little Naruto in the arms of Lien Ju Shinai. Lord Yechin, Lord Yechin. Seeing the people of the Night Morning, whether they were civilians or ninjas, they all shouted respectfully, their eyes full of gratitude and respect. Faced with this situation, Yechin also nodded politely in response. I didn't expect that the reputation of this guy of yours is so high. Quote. Seeing this scene, Ju Shinai leaned into Yi Chen's ear and whispered. Prestige. Oh, this stuff is very cheap. Quote. Yi Chen still had a smile on his face and whispered. When Ju Shinai heard this, he was slightly stunned, not understanding the meaning of Yi Chen's words. Seeing this, Yechin smiled and didn't say anything more. It's just that a pair of bright eyes flashes with light. As the person who came from the explosion of news, Yechin knew very well that this kind of thing of prestige was decided by whether the right to speak was not in your hands. Now it seems that many people are saying that he is good, but when he is in power, he instigates the wind of public opinion. The one who is respectful and grateful to you now is the assassin who will stab you. I didn't see the former Konoha White Fang, and the reputation was also like the sky, and even faintly surpassed the Hokage. What was his result in the end? Haven't you been forced to die alive by these fools? Therefore, the Night Morning is very thorough. Now he has insufficient background, and he is not yet the time to cut them with the ape Flying Sun and completely tear his face. It is useless for him to ask for these prestige. Of course, proper brushing of prestige is also good. After all, he would take over Konoha in the future, and Konoha couldn't do without these fools. Night morning, Ju Shinai. Just as Yechin and Ju Shinai rushed to the cemetery in silence, a crisp voice entered the ears of the two. The two turned their heads to look. I saw a royal sister with long hair and a shawl and a black dress walking towards the two. Makoto. Ju Shina hugged little Naruto, smiled at the person who came, and said hello. The person who came was none other than Nezuko's mother in the original work, Makoto Uchiha. It's just that in this world now, Zuko's mother is not Uchiha Makoto. Ju Shinai, Yechin, I'm sorry, I couldn't fight with you last night. Makoto Uchiha came to the two and said to them with an apologetic look. Makoto, no need to apologize, we all know this, Ju Shinai said indifferently. Last night, Ju Shina asked Yi Chen why he didn't see the people of the Uchiha clan during the entire battle. And Yechin also answered this question. As Yechin said, the 9 tails and the 3 tails are obviously controlled by the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. In this case, it is good that the Uchiha clan did not appear. If it did, I am afraid that it will really be regarded as an enemy who has defected to the enemy. Alas, Makoto Uchiha sighed, thinking of the scene of the confrontation between the Uchiha clan and the Roots last night, and some dangerous remarks within the clan. She was also a little powerless. Okay, Makoto, don't think about it so much, we'll have backers in the future. Seeing Makoto like this, Ju Shina blinked her eyes and nodded to Yechin on the side. When Uchiha Makoto heard this, she looked at Yechin on the side, and then smiled. Yes. Now I have a backer, Yi Chen, you will take more care of me in the future. Quote. Ahem, Yi Chen, who had been acting as a transparent person, had to speak at this time. Don't worry, with me, no problem. Yatsumin winked at Makoto and said with a smile. Seeing this, the smile on Makoto's face became even brighter. Big sister, Yechin Sr. At this time, 2 more figures came over. Red beans. Ju Shinai looked at the person who came and also smiled and said hello. Wow, big sister, when do you want a child? I haven't heard of you being pregnant. As soon as Red Bean got closer, he saw the little Naruto in Ju Shinai's arms, and after seeing Naruto's blonde hair, Hongdu blinked his big eyes and looked at Ju Shinai's red hair. Looking at Yechin's black hair again, she leaned into Ju Shinai's ear and whispered, Big sister, it's still you who are fierce and did such a thing. Quote. When Ju Shinai heard this, he blinked, his face full of dazedness. What is the situation? What did she do? Big sister, you are still you powerful, you brought such a big hat to Yechin Sr. Yechin Sr. is not angry yet, you know, Yechin is now a super strong person who awakened Mu Duan. You can even let Yechin Sr.'s help raise children, powerful. Quote. Hongdu looked at Ju Shinai with adoration, and immediately, a look of grievance appeared on his face. Alas, although you are my eldest sister, but I still have to say a few words about you, big sister, you already have a child with others, or let the Night Morning Senior, you see, the current Thousand Hands family is only the Night Morning Senior. Although the Thousand Hands clan lacks population, it must also be a population with the bloodline of the Thousand Hands clan. Big sister, you occupy the Night and Morning Seniors like this, and you are good with others, isn't this occupying the pit and not pulling she? In fact, for the sake of increasing the population of the Senju clan, I can also pull it up. Quote. Ju Shinai, who was originally dazed, listened to Hongdu's words, his face became more and more ugly, his red hair floated up like an octopus, and his fists were clenched. Red beans, don't say it. Hong's face has turned white at this time. For fear that if Red Bean continues, there will be one more person at today's funeral, and he quickly went over to cover Red Bean's mouth. Cluck. Makoto Uchiha covered her chuckle and watched the scene. She had just seen the little Naruto in Ju Shinai's arms. However, as soon as she saw Naruto's blonde hair, and then thought of the relationship between Ju Shina and Kei, she immediately knew who this child was. However, she didn't expect that this Red Bean was so humble. As for Yechin on the side, his face was also a little dark. Nima, although he lives under the same roof with Ju Shinai, because there is a Makoto in the middle, he has not broken through that relationship. Now, this little girl actually said that he likes to be a father. If it weren't for the inappropriate scene, he really wanted to shoot a wooden dragon technique. Soon, several people came to the cemetery in the morning. Along the way, Yechin ran into the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku, and Hinata Hiyashi of the Hyuga clan. Although the three did not communicate much, Uchiha Fugaku and Hinata both expressed kindness to Yomochan. Especially Uchiha Fugaku, when he saw Uchiha Makoto and Yoshin and the others so close. Instead of stopping it, a kind smile appeared on his staid face. And the reason why, as the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, he would show such a kind look towards the current patriarch of the Senju clan. It was entirely because Yechin awakened Mudun and anticipated the situation that the Uchiha clan would face next. After all, no matter what, the people who watched the tailed beast attack Konoha were all guys with chakra eyes. Even if the ape flying sun wants to make a big thing small, the people of the village will not agree. Therefore, the suppression of the Uchiha family has become a fact. And although the Thousand Hands clan only had Yechin left, Yechin awakened the legendary Muduan, plus there was still a Tsunade outside. It can be said that at present, the Senju clan has these two people, which is greater than their entire Uchiha voice. Therefore, even if the Uchiha family is arrogant, they have to look for foreign aid at this time. Otherwise, maybe sometime, Konoha will find an excuse to destroy their Uchiha clan. And now that he has awakened Mudun and has a lot of prestige, Yechin is undoubtedly the object of wooing the Uchiha family. Therefore, the current Uchiha family wishes that Uchiha Makoto directly lived in the Senju clan. As for Hinata doesn't have so much thought. At this time, the Hyuga family was almost trained by Sarutobi Hinata into the shape he wanted. If there are no accidents, the Hyuga clan will always be the little brother of Sarutobi Hinata. And Hinata Hiyashi expressed kindness to Yechin, and that was all because of Yechin's mudden. No way, Mudun has such an influence in Konoha. The funeral took place as scheduled. Almost everyone in Konoha was present. In the cemetery, Sarutobi took the high level of Konoha and blew another wave of will to fire in front of everyone, and the funeral was over. Yoshina took Kushina and Naruto, as well as Makoto, Red, and Red Bean back to the Senju clan. Just back in the Senju clan, a dark ninja appeared in front of Yi Chen. Lord Yokuchin, Naruto-sama summoned you to the Hokage building for a meeting. The dark man knelt down on one knee and gave a big salute to the night morning before he spoke. A meeting? When Yechin heard this, he frowned, then nodded and said, "Okay, I'll change my clothes and go over." Quote. Yes, the dark part answered, and immediately after, an instantaneous technique disappeared in place. What the hell does the third generation of old men want to do? Ju Shinai came over and said very dissatisfied. And little Naruto has been handed over to Makoto and Red Bean to take care of. I don't blame Ju Shinai for such an expression, since the decline of the Senju clan. Even if Yechin became the patriarch of the Thousand Hands clan, but because the Thousand Hands clan only had Yi Chen, the male Ding, Yi Chen had no strength at that time, which led to what meetings Konoha has. There is no night mourning. Don't underestimate these meetings. These Konoha meetings are not just about war or contribution. These meetings are sometimes related to the distribution of benefits. And the Thousand Hands clan has not participated in the meeting for so long, and their assets have decreased tenfold compared to their heyday. Therefore, now Ju Shinai heard the three generations summoning the night mourning meeting, and it was again a meeting after the Nine Tails Rebellion. This doesn't need to be thought about. It is definitely not a good thing, maybe it is a thankless thing. I think it must be about rebuilding Konoha. After thinking about it, Yechin spoke. After all, last night, Konoha's commodity area was all destroyed, and the commodity area is one of Konoha's important economic resources. If the commodity area cannot be restored, Konoha's finances will be at least 1/3 less. Quote. So, the three generations of old men want us to pay for repairs. When Ju Shinai heard this, he immediately stopped working. What for? Is there a good thing that does not reach us, and now we have to pay for it? Are they dreaming? Quote. Ju Shinai, who had already regarded herself as the wife of the patriarch of the Thousand Hands clan, heard that he might be asking the Thousand Hands clan to pay for it, and suddenly the boss was reluctant. That's their family's money. The Thousand Hands clan still has to be revived, and it will cost a lot of money. Otherwise, how to cultivate power? How to raise a child? How? Anyway, there is no money, no life. Ju Shinai made up his mind that he would not pay this money. Haha, You little housekeeper. Yechen looked at the bulging Zhu Shinai and couldn't help pinching her face. Now the financial income of the Thousand Hands clan is managed by Zhu Shinai. This girl, she looks very grinning, but she is also a small wealth fan, belonging to Pixiu, otherwise, Tsunade would not have written to him all day asking for money. Even Tsunade's desire to take money from her was a difficult task, and now it was simply impossible to take money from her to rebuild the merchandise area. HMPH. Anyway, there is no money for it. Quote. Kushina snorted and twisted her waist to tease Naruto with Makoto. Seeing this, Yechen shook his head, walked back to his room, closed the door, his mind moved, and he called up the system. Ding. The host's reputation in Konoha has soared, allowing the name of Senju to reappear in the ninja world. Congratulations to the host for obtaining luck, 5,000 points. Ding. The host's Dun shocked everyone, allowing Konoha's faith to return, congratulating the host on obtaining luck, 5,000 points. Looking at the two messages displayed in the system, a smile appeared on Yechen's face. For the luck obtained by the fandom, Yechen had already expected it. Gas luck, gas luck. This thing is a bit mysterious to say. If you want to get luck, in addition to the strong power of the family, in the same camp, gain prestige and let others identify with you, you can also get luck. System. I want to buy a silver package. The silver gift package required 10,000 chi luck points, and now he just had 11,000 chi luck points. Instead, I can buy a lucky package. Speaking of which, this is his first time buying a gift package. This is the first time. It's always exciting and apprehensive. Ding. 10,000 gas luck points have been deducted. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting a silver package. Does the host open the package? Turn on. Ding. The silver gift pack has been opened. Congratulations to the host for obtaining. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 Kachakra, 1 card as the amount of Kakashi. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining chakra attributes, thunder, fire. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining wind, fire, water, earth, rechakra properties change. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining yin seal. Didn't. Gone. Quote. Yechen looked at the contents of the gift bag full of anticipation, and was a little speechless for a while. This special code is worthy of the lowest level gift package, he should not have expected it. He is not short of chakra now, give him 10 chakra amount, is this so that he can make up 100 calories? Well, in other words, will the amount of chakra that is gathered together 100 calories change? This can be expected. 2 chakra properties have been added, and 5 chakra property changes are fine for both. After all, if you add 1 more chakra attribute, his attack means will be more, and it will not be so single. And the nature change of chakra's attributes is also okay, and ball sets with different attributes can be developed. This spiral pill is a panacea. If this is the magic of the wooden man to release the wind escape spiral shuriken, the power Yechen dare not imagine. And this 100 heroic art is a bit of a pit. Because, this yin seal cultivation method, he originally had. This technique was conceived and developed by Uzumaki Mito. The yin seal is to seal the usually extra chakra to the center of the eyebrows, and when needed, you can unlock the seal to obtain the usual seal of chakra. Moreover, the yin seal can also stimulate the cells, allowing the cells to delay aging. I don't know if Tsunade has developed the art of Hyakuo. Thinking of the yin seal, Yechen couldn't help but think of the Hyakuo art that Tsunade had developed based on the yin seal. This 100 heroes art can be regarded as an upgraded version of the yin seal. In the original work, at the time of the 4 battles, half of Tsunade's body was gone. But it is still regenerated with the creation of the art of Baihao, and it is restored abruptly. This is simply more awesome than his immortal body. After all, his immortal body could not be reborn with severed limbs. Okay, this saves time for cultivation. Thinking that the yin seal had the effect of delaying aging, Yechen was not so disgusted. After all, in the past, because he was cared for by the world consciousness, he couldn't do anything. Now I can cultivate, but cultivation also takes time. Is there that world? Accompany Zhu Shinai to chat about life, shopping is not happy. System, claim. Yechen didn't say much, and directly received these things systematically. Boom. As soon as Yi Chen's voice fell, he suddenly noticed that his chakra had increased by 1/10. Immediately afterwards, these chakras produced qualitative changes. This change is equivalent to the gas being transformed into a liquid. It's just that the speed of this transformation is somewhat slow, and according to Yi Chen's estimates, it will take at least 5 years to complete all of his chakra transformations. As chakra changes, it is chakra's attributes, and the nature of attributes that change. He could clearly perceive that his chakra attributes had 2 more types. And with these 2 attribute chakra, then he has attribute blessings when he uses the ninjutsu of these 2 attributes. Moreover, after receiving the change in the nature of chakra's attributes, he could feel that his control over chakra was more detailed. Yin Seal. After receiving the Yin Seal, Yechen directly began to store chakra. It's just that the Yin Seal of the night morning was not placed at the center of the eyebrows. After all, he is a big man, and there is one more thing at the center of his eyebrows, how uncomfortable this looks. And his Yin Seal was directly imprinted on his back. Also, unlike Tsunade's Aoi type, his Yin Seal is a flame-like pattern. Anyway, this thing, put it on the back, Yechen doesn't want to make so much trouble. For him, the Yin Seal is just a ninjutsu to delay aging. After that, if you get the immortal technique from the system, this Yin Seal will be nullified. System, open my properties panel. After receiving all the things, Yechen directly ordered the system. Name, Senju Yechen. Physique, immortal body perfect. Chakra 100 calories half-step hypershadow. Blood succession boundary Mu Duan. Chakra attributes wind, water, earth, fire, thunder, yang. Ninjutsu Yin Seal. Mu Dun Fusion Collection, Spiral Pill, Shadow Doppelganger, Wind Dun Vacuum Jade, Fengdun Crushing, Tudun Tuliu Wall, Tudun Heart Decapitation Technique, Avatar Technique, Transformation Technique, Doppelganger. Comprehensive Strength, the peak of the shadow level. Gas Luck Value, 1000. Looking at his attribute panel, Yechen frowned. As he thought, chakra was indeed undergoing a qualitative change. All of them show the level of half-step hypershadow. Yechen felt that if the chakra qualitative transformation was completed, then his chakra would be at the super shadow level. It's just that chakra is to the half-step super shadow level, but the comprehensive strength is still the peak of the shadow level. This is also confirmed. The amount of chakra does not represent the idea of the same strength. Perhaps, when I have the immortal mode, my strength can step into the ranks of the super shadow. Yechen thought so, and then, turned off the system, changed his clothes, and left the room, heading towards the Hokage building. Hokage building, conference room. Sarutobi Hinata was wearing the Hokage imperial god robe and carrying the Hokage cloak, sitting in the first place, slightly bowing his head and swallowing clouds and mist. On either side of his lower head are Mito Monita, Kaharu and Shimura Danzo. Mito Menyon, Kaharu sat on the right-hand side, and Shimura Danzo sat on the left-hand side. At this time, in the conference room, the patriarchs of Konoha's major ninja clans, as well as the upper ninjas, had arrived. However, the meeting has not yet begun. Because, there is still no one in the conference room. At the lower head of the regiment, one of the seats is still empty. In the conference room, it was quiet at this time, and everyone did not speak, one by one, like an old monk in a fixed position, closed their eyes and recuperated, waiting for the arrival of the person. Click. The door to the conference room was spread out, and at this time, everyone opened their eyes and looked in the direction of the door. I saw a young man in his early 20s, with his hands in his pockets, with a faint smile on his handsome face, and slowly walked in. I'm really sorry to keep you guys waiting. It was none other than the night morning. After Yechen entered the conference room, he saw that the eyes of everyone in the conference room fell on him, and he didn't care, and while speaking, he walked to Tuanzo's side. Yechen, you are such a big shelf, you let so many people wait for you alone, don't you put everyone in your eyes? Do you still put the Hokage in your eyes? Quote. As soon as Yi Chen arrived, Tuanzang directly became furious. A large hat was directly buttoned on Yi Chen's head. When Yi Chen heard this, the smile on his face disappeared, and his eyes looked directly at Tuanzang. Moment. The temperature in the entire conference room seemed to have dropped by more than 10 degrees. People with slightly lower strength only feel that it is a little difficult to breathe at this time, and the atmosphere does not dare to breathe. Yechen, what do you want to do? Could it be that you want to do it here? Want to betray Konoha? Quote. Tuan Zhang, who had been suppressed twice by Yechen with momentum, was already somewhat immune to Yechen's momentum at this time. Therefore, when Yechen broke out again with momentum, although he also felt some pressure, he was still within an acceptable range. At the same time, he also thought in his heart that it would be good if Yechen started directly. In this way, Yechen will definitely become the target of everyone. However, how could Yi Chen fall for these little tricks hidden by the group? I saw Yechen staring at Tuan Zhang for a few seconds, and said lightly to Tuan Zhang, "Old dog, you are still so ugly." Quote. Saying that, he ignored Tuan Zhang, who was so angry that he almost exploded, looked at the ape flying Sun Chop who was sitting on the first place and had been silent, and said with a faint smile on his face again, "Hee, my Thousand Hands clan hasn't been here for a meeting for a long time, which makes me forget the route, which makes the 3 generations of adults wait for a long time, and the 3 generations of adults won't mind, right?" Quote. Moment. Everyone in the conference room looked at the ape flying sun. Seeing this, Ape Fei Ri did not pretend to be deaf and dumb, looked at Yechen and smiled, "It's actually here, then sit down." Quote. Yechen nodded and sat directly under the vacated position next to the regiment's hideout. On the other side of him is Hinata Hiyashi of the Hyuga clan. As for his opposite, it was Uchiha Fugaku of the Uchiha clan. Seeing Hinata Hiyashi beside him nodding to him, Yechen suddenly moved in his heart, looked at Hinata Hiyashi and said, "Hinata, I heard that your first child is about to be born." Quote. Hinata was slightly flustered when she heard this. I don't know what Yechen wants to do when she says this. And everyone in the conference room also looked at Yechen and Hinata, and even the 3 generations looked at the two curiously, thinking in their hearts, could it be that Hinata rebelled? Not to say what others think, Hinata heard Yechen's question, and although he didn't understand what Yechen wanted to do, he still nodded, yes, Yuchiko should be in the basin during this time. Quote. Speaking of which, this year is really a very special year for Konoha. In this year, the big protagonist Naruto in the Hokage was born, followed by the Nine Tails Rebellion, 4 generations died in battle, and then the future 12 Xiaoqiang were born one after another. This year has been a blessing for Konoha. When Yechen heard Hinata Hiyashi's words, a bright smile appeared on his face, and his arm directly wrapped his arm around Hinata Hiyashi, and said with a grin, "Haha, Hinata, I think we are very close, or let's get married." Quote. Hinata Hiyashi was a little uncomfortable being wrapped around Yomochi's neck, and was about to let Yomosta let him go, when he suddenly heard Yechen's words. It was immediately a pile, and then Hinata Hiyashi pondered. Listening to Yechen means that he wants to marry their Hyuga clan. But how did he know that his unborn child was a girl? Even he didn't long ago, observing with his white eyes, to determine whether the child was male or female. How did this news reach Yi Chen's ears? All right, not to mention how Yechen knew that his first child was a girl. According to the rules of the Hyuga clan in the past, the Hyuga clan does not marry outside. But now the family to be married is the Thousand Hands family that already owns Mu Duan, which has to be considered. Thinking like this in his heart, Hinata looked at Yechen and asked, "Yechen, Ju Shinai also has it?" Quote. In his opinion, if it is to be married, there must be a marriage partner, so he asked so. After all, today's Thousand Hands family, there is only one male ding left as Yechen. If it is a marriage, it is Yechen's child. Everyone in the conference room, seeing that Yechen and Hinata Hiyashi were about to marry, looked at Sarutobi Hinata one by one. In Konoha, who does not know the Hyuga clan, has been slashed by Sarutobi Hinata. Taught the shape he wanted. Now that Hinata is going to marry Senju, is Hinata falling out with Sarutobi Hinata? And Sarutobi Hinata heard the words of Yechen and Hinata. Although there was no expression on his face, he still looked kind. But in his heart, he was already scolding the Hyuga clan for being white-eyed wolves. At the same time, he also began to be vigilant. If this Hyuga clan marries Yechen, it will not be a good signal for him. Ju Shinai is pregnant. Under everyone's gaze, Yechen looked at Hinata blankly and shook his head. No. Ju Shinai is not pregnant. Quote. Yi Chen's words, not only heard Hinata, but everyone present was stunned for a moment. Not pregnant. Hinata returned to his senses, and immediately, he said with some dissatisfaction, "Yechen, are you kidding me?" Unexpectedly, Ju Shinai is not pregnant, and there is only one male left in the Thousand Hands clan. How can this be married? Could it be that you want to marry my unborn daughter? Quote. Everyone also looked at Yechen speechlessly, feeling that Yechen was playing on the honest Hinata. After Ape Flying Sun listened, he was greatly relieved, did not smoke, took the tea in front of him, and drank it. And just when everyone thought that Yechen was just joking with Hinata Hiyashi, Yechen slapped his thigh and gave Hinata Hiyashi a thumbs up. Oh, I didn't expect Hinata to see it. That's right, it's that I want to get married, you see, I just say we have fate, right? Go with me. What is this called? This is called heart-to-heart connection, father-in-law. Poof. When Ape Flying Sun heard Yi Chen's words, he spewed out a sip of tea, his eyes widened, and he looked at Yi Chen with an incredulous face. Not only did the ape fly to the sun, but everyone in the conference room also looked at Yechen blankly. What a beast. The daughters of the people have not yet been born, and you are eyeing them. And even the father-in-law was called on the horse. I've never seen such a brazen person. However, Night Morning can ignore that. Ju Shinai told him that she could make concessions for the revival of the Senju clan. And who was Hinata Hiyashi's first daughter? Hinata. This is the goddess in the hearts of those Naruto fans in the past life. Moreover, Hinata is a white-eyed princess with the purest white eyes and is expected to awaken the reincarnation eye. If this makes her become a Thousand Hands Hinata, the luck of the Thousand Hands family will not rub the rise. Hiyashi, how's it going? Being my father-in-law is definitely not a loss. Quote. Hinata Hiyashi almost vomited blood when she heard Yechen's words. He has lived for so many years, he has never seen such a shameless guy. His daughter hasn't been born yet. How old is he at night? Just a few years younger than him. Tima, I treat you as a brother, and you want to be my son-in-law. Hey, Hinata, what's wrong with you? Yechen looked at Hinata's face flushed, afraid that something would happen to the future husband, and quickly asked with concern. Phew, Hinata let out a long breath, and the blood that was about to be vomited was held back. I'm okay, Hinata responded with some ugliness. If he hadn't been able to fight the Night Morning, Hinata would have wanted to fight him. A dead pervert of the special code. Oh, it's okay, it seems that you are too happy, don't worry, your daughter handed over to me, she will definitely not let her suffer, Yechen assured as he patted his chest. Is age a problem for him, who traveled from the 21st century? Surely not. Didn't you see that in the previous life, there were a lot of rich people and goddaughters for so many years? No matter how he said it now, he was also the patriarch of the Thousand Hands clan. No matter how the Thousand Hands family declines, it is also a wealthy family, right? What happened to a wealthy patriarch like him, who has a daughter-in-law who can be a daughter? No more. He has now cultivated the Yin seal, coupled with the huge vitality of the immortal body. Even if he has another 20 years, his appearance will still be 20. Not to mention, he still has a system, maybe one day he will be immortal. In this way, age is still a problem. Have to say. Since he had the strength and got Ju Shinai's approval, Yechen was a little floating. Ahem. Hinata coughed violently when she heard Yechen's shameless words, and then, barely squeezed out a smile and looked at Yechen and said, I'll talk about this later, I'll talk about it later. Quote. Also, now is indeed not the time to talk about this, the three generations still have a meeting, and when I have time, I will visit you with the Hyuga clan. When Yechen heard this, he nodded as if he were not. Everyone was speechless for a while. Ahem. Night Morning, your private affairs, you will talk in private later, now we will start talking about business. Quote. Ape Fei Ri Chopping really couldn't bear it, for fear that Yi Chen, a shameless person, would target which unborn girl, and quickly spoke. When Yechen heard this, he shrugged his shoulders, closed his mouth, and watched the performance of the Ape Flying Sun. At this time, everyone in the conference room converged their minds and looked at the Ape Flying Sun. And Sarutobi didn't talk nonsense, directly took out a document, and looked at everyone present. Just as the so-called wolves cannot be leaderless, the fourth generation of Hokage has sacrificed for the sake of the village, and now with the approval of the daimyo of the Fire Nation, Sarutobi Hinata will once again take over the position of the third generation of Hokage, and until the fifth generation of Hokage takes office, he will rule Konoha. Quote. As soon as the ape flying sun's voice fell, everyone except for a few people exploded. Originally, I thought that after the sacrifice of the 4th generation of Hokage, the 5th generation of Hokage would be directly selected. But I never expected that this Hokage, who had abdicated, could be able to take office again. This special code is a bit outrageous. HMPH. Tuan Zhang's hand placed under the table was clenched into a fist, and he snorted very dissatisfied. Although he had known this result for a long time, he was still disgusted by the shamelessness of the ape flying sun. Ahem. Ape flying sun chopper obviously knows that his reascension is a bit shameless, but in the face of this Hokage's right, what happened to the shameless point? As the saying goes, how thick the skin is, how much food you can eat. I saw that he coughed, signaled everyone to be quiet, and then pretended to ask, "Everyone, do you have any opinions on the appointment of the daimyo?" Quote. What else can the crowd say? Although the daimyo of the Land of Fire is an ordinary person, the daimyofu controls most of Konoha's finances, and if the daimyo is dissatisfied and directly withdraws these finances, then Konoha will really be abolished. Therefore, in the face of Ape Flying Sun's question, although everyone was not very comfortable in their hearts, they still nodded and answered. 3 generations of adults are back in power, I have no opinion. I don't have an opinion either. 3 generations of adults are wise and calculating, and they are back in position, we all obey, no opinion. Neither do I. Everyone in the conference room, except for a few who did not speak out, voted in favor one by one. As for the few people who did not make a sound, it was Yechin, Uchiha Fugaku, and Shimura Danzo. Yechin was too lazy to act with Ape Flying Sun, sitting quietly watching these performances. Uchiha Fugaku was because he had received a notice this morning that their Uchiha clan was going to move. And he was relocated to the edge of Konoha, which almost tore his face with the Uchiha clan. It is strange that he can give Ape Flying Sun a good face. As for why did Tuan Zhang not express his position? There is no need to say more, everyone who understands it. Well, if you all have no opinion, then I, Sarutobi Hinata, will continue to serve as the 3rd generation Hokage. Quote. Sarutobi saw that there was no objection, nodded with satisfaction, and then said with a solemn face, "Last night, our Konoha was attacked by the 9 tails, and this attack caused all the commodity areas to be destroyed. Everyone knows the importance of the commodity area, Konoha cannot do without the commodity area, so my proposal is to rebuild the commodity area." Quote. Speaking of this, Sarutobi paused for a moment, and then said, "Don't hide from everyone, Konoha needs to make compensation because of years of conquest, plus the hero's family who died in the 9 Tails Rebellion, and Konoha has no money. Therefore, I want you to come here this time, I want you to contribute strongly, and the money you have to contribute to build a better future for Konoha." Quote. The words said by Sarutobi Hinata were very beautiful, and his expression was also very well managed, all for Konoha's expression. If it is some little rookie, it is really fooled by this wave of performances of Ape Flying Sun. However, of those present, which one is not a human spirit? Nima, what benefits are not mentioned, and people are paid to contribute, is their money blown by the wind? Want to empty gloves, White Wolf? What kind of dreams? Therefore, when Ape Flying Sun was almost moved to cry by himself, there was still no sound. And the Ape Flying Sun saw that no one made a sound, and his heart was full of helplessness. In this world, there is no love for each of them. Seeing that everyone did not express their attitude, Sarutobi rubbed his eyebrows and looked at everyone again. Of course, Konoha will not let you only give without reward. Quote. Sarutobi said this, and after thinking about it, he said, "Here I promise in the name of Hokage that whoever builds the shops and buildings in the commodity area will have the right to use them for 100 years. Quote. Originally thought that when he threw out this promise, those present would express their position one after another. But the scene remained silent. Everyone present has their own plans. Although the shop building in the commodity area, whoever builds it, can have the right to use it for 100 years. Logically, this is a very cost-effective thing. However, that also depends on the situation. Don't want to think about what has become of the commodity area at this time. Today's commodity area, just the big pit blasted out with the oversized jade spiral pilled at night, is tens of meters deep and hundreds of meters wide. Such a pit can become a reservoir. If you want to rebuild the shop building, you have to fill in the big hole. However, most of the ninjas in the family now defend other ninja villages on the border of the Land of Fire. If they want to fill that big hole, they have to invite ordinary people. And after filling that big hole, and building again, you still have to ask most ordinary people to do it. In this way, not to mention spending more money, the construction time will be greatly extended. Such a transaction is a loss. In fact, if it weren't for the loss of this transaction, the Ape Flying Sun Chop would not have been handed over to them. They were the Ape Flying Clan, the Mito Clan, the Sleeping Clan, and the Shimura Clan had already finished dividing. After all, it's a merchandise area. There are a few shops there, and even just collecting rent is profitable. Ape Fei saw that everyone still did not express their position, and he also had some headaches. Konoha really has no money and no hands to build it. But the commodity area cannot be left unbuilt, otherwise, Konoha lacks this piece of fiscal revenue, and if there is a war in the future, there will definitely be a financial crisis. Otherwise, you all used to have your own shops in the commodity area, why don't you each build your own shop buildings? Ape Flying Sun Chopper made another suggestion. However, everyone present still did not say a word as if they had eaten glue. Ape Flying Sun Chopper had a little headache. What should I do about this? Is it possible to borrow money from a daimyo? However, those guys in the daimyo are greedy to death, and when they borrow 1,000 taels to pay back, they have to pay back 1,500 taels, which is simply more bandits than bandits. And just when the scene fell into an eerie silence, a voice reached everyone's ears. The commodity area was rebuilt, I bagged it. As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at the person who spoke, wanting to see which unjust big man was so brave. However, when they saw that the person who spoke was in the morning, they all looked at each other. The heart said, it is worthy of being the first time in Konoha, and it is really rich and rich. And Ape Fei Richo heard Yechin say that the reconstruction of the commodity area, he was also stunned, and then, uncertain, said, Yechin, what did you just say? You said you packed. Quote. Good. Yechin nodded nonchalantly and looked at everyone. You were unwilling, and I, as the patriarch of the Thousand Hands clan, and also the starting family of Konoha, naturally will not watch the fall of Konoha, so the reconstruction of this commodity area, my Thousand Hands clan is packed, you don't want to rob me, who robs me and he is anxious. Quote. Yechin looks like he is for Konoha, and his Senju clan can scatter the family's wealth. And everyone present, after being stunned for a moment, looked strange one by one. Looking at Yi Chen's gaze, it was like looking at a loser. How? Do you have an opinion? Yi Chen's nostrils were facing the sky, and he looked at everyone present with the appearance of a young man. No, no, Lord Yechin Gaoyi, worthy of being called the Thousand Hands of the Love family, admire and admire under it. Yes, sacrificing the spirit of the ego for Konoha like Lord Yorichin as our role model, if it weren't for the contemptible people having a big son to raise, I will take 1,000 taels to support Lord Yechin if I say anything. Quote. But no, these 3 battles have just ended, there are many people in the family, we can't do it, otherwise, Naruto-sama's words, can we not do it? After everyone heard Yi Chen's words, they came back to their senses one by one, and praised Yi Chen's generosity and righteousness, saying that he was worthy of being 1,000 hands, and Yi Chen was simply their model and other flattery words. But in the hearts of these guys, they are all scolding the defeated family in the morning. I said, night morning, what the hell are you doing? Crazy. This commodity area is obviously a big pit, even if there are only a few people in the Thousand Hands clan now, it doesn't cost much, but there is no need to be such a loser, right? Quote. Hinata, who was next to Yechin, couldn't help it, pulled the corner of Yechin's clothes, and reminded in a low voice. HMPH. Before Yechin could speak, Tuanzang on the side snorted, glanced at Hinata, and then said indifferently, some people, if they shouldn't say something, they can't say more. After speaking, he looked at Yechin playfully. It's worthy of being the teacher's family, I blamed you for it before, you are the pillar of Konoha. Quote. Ha, pass the prize, though, and I don't need a dog to praise me. Quote. Yechin glanced at Shimura Danzo and replied without salt. You, I was scolded by the dog in the night morning again, and Tuanzang called a fire in his heart. However, thinking of Yi Chen's defeated behavior, he gloated again. Yechin was not in charge of Tuanzo, turned his head to look at Hinata, and put his arm around his shoulder again. Old man, don't worry, I know it in my heart. Quote. Hinata heard this, and didn't want to take care of the night mourning anymore. Good, good. At this time, the ape on the first seat flew and began to perform again. I saw him stand up and look at Yechin with excitement. Not bad, worthy of being the teacher's clan. The reconstruction of the commodity area, I am very relieved to hand it over to the Thousand Hands clan. Come, Yi Chen, sign a contract. As long as you sign your name, the 100-year use right of the land in the commodity area as your Thousand Hands clan. Quote. Sarutobi said as he spoke, taking out a document from nowhere and handing it to Yi Chen. Yechin took the document, read it, found no problems, and was about to sign it. Wait. At this time, a voice interrupted Yi Chen's movements. Yi Chen, who was about to sign, suddenly heard someone interrupt him, and suddenly looked at the person who spoke with some dissatisfaction. And the person who spoke was none other than Uchiha Fugaku opposite him. Uchiha Fugaku did not look at Yechin, and directly slashed at Sarutobi Hinata. Naruto-sama, as the starting family of the Senju clan, my Uchiha clan will have to contribute to any way. Quote. Speaking of this, Uchiha Fugaku paused, pondered for a moment, and then continued, I, the Uchiha clan, can afford the reconstruction of 50 shops. Quote. After speaking, Uchiha Fugaku looked at Yechin on the opposite side and revealed a kind smile. It's obvious, Uchiha Fugaku knew that rebuilding the store was a loss, but in order to share the pressure of the night. Only then did he propose to rebuild 50 shop buildings. Seeing this, Yechin blinked his eyes. He was not stupid, and naturally understood what Uchiha Fugaku meant. But he doesn't need to share. Just as he was about to open his mouth to persuade Uchiha Fugaku, another voice sounded. I, the Hyuga family, am also willing to undertake the reconstruction of 30 shop buildings. My Nara family is also willing to undertake the reconstruction of 20 shops. 20 rooms of my Akamichi clan. 20 of my family in the mountains. Soon, the Hyuga clan, the Nara clan, the Akamichi clan, and the Yamanaka clan all spoke, willing to rebuild the commodity area together with Yosana. Everyone in the conference room, looking at the statements of these Konoha families, all looked at each other. At the same time, they are also wondering in their hearts, is there something wrong with this transaction? However, no matter what they think, without the help of a large number of ninjas, this job is a loss. Ape Fei looked at these families, and actually agreed to undertake the reconstruction of the commodity area. Not only was he not happy in his heart, but his face was a little gloomy. Okay, he said so much just now, you guys are dumb. Now Yechin has to take on the construction yourself, and you guys will jump out one by one to help him share the pressure. Is he a Hokage or am I a Hokage? And Yechin also knew that they did this for their own good. At the same time, it is also to release goodwill to him. Therefore, he did not refuse again. Anyway, the commodity area was so fast, even if they were allocated more than 100 shops, he still accounted for the lion's share. So, Yechin looked at Sarutobi and spoke, Naruto-sama, you see that our Konoha still has a loyal family, and if Fugaku has this heart, then complete them. Quote. Sarutobi Hinata did not take care of the night, but looked at Uchiha Fugaku and Hinata Hiyashi. You guys have to think clearly, it will cost a lot of money to rebuild the commodity area, and there is a time limit. You must reopen the commodity area within a year, otherwise, based on the value of the store, 10 times the price, compensation to the village. Quote. When Uchiha Fugaku and the others heard this, their faces changed slightly. Just now, I didn't say that there is a time limit, and compensation As far as the situation in the commodity area is fast, even if there are ninjas who use ninjutsu to rebuild, it will be a little tight for a year. Uchiha Fugaku and the others, who were undecided, looked at Yechin. Yechin smiled slightly, and then spoke. There is no problem with this, it doesn't take a year, or even half a year, I can make the commodity area lively again. Quote. When Uchiha Fugaku and the others heard this, although they were still a little worried, they still gritted their teeth and looked at Sarutobi and nodded. Good, good. Seeing this, Ape Fei immediately smiled, but the smile looked a little gloomy. Then signed the contract. With a wave of his hand, Ape Fairy let a dark department take a few documents again and hand them to several people in the night morning. Is there anyone else who wants to participate in the reconstruction of the commodity district? After giving the documents to a few people, Ape Fairy swept his gaze over everyone present, still with a smile on his face, but a pair of eyes that usually looked a little bleak burst out of essence. In the face of Ape Flying Sun's questioning, everyone did not speak again, and one by one lowered their eyebrows as if they hadn't heard it. None of those present were fools. The current situation is not a question of whether or not to rebuild the commodity area. It's choosing to take sides. They are all small families, or civilian ninjas, and they dare not participate in this high-level game. Seeing that no one dared to speak out again, Ape Fairy was very satisfied in his heart. It seems that in Konoha, there are still a lot of people who recognize his will of fire. Immediately, he looked at Uchiha Fugaku and the others again, especially finally his gaze fell on Hinata Hiyashi's body. Fugaku, Hiyashi, and Shikaku, are you really sure you want to sign this contract? Quote. When Uchiha Fugaku and the others heard this, they understood the meaning of Ape Flying Sun / and gave them another chance. After signing this contract, then they will be the opposite of Ape Flying Sun / in the future. Hehe, contributing to Konoha is an obligation that we, the initial family, should do. Uchiha Fugaku is not afraid of the threat of Ape Flying Sun slashing now, and their Uchiha clan will be marginalized. What else can apes do with them? Could it be that they still want to destroy their Uchiha clan? As the saying goes, the barefoot is not afraid to wear shoes, and now Uchiha Fugaku is still very courageous, and without saying a word, he signed his name on the document. Hinata Hiyashi looked at Uchiha Fugaku, who signed the daimyo without hesitation, and felt a little bitter in his heart. He really didn't expect things to turn out like this. The reason why he echoed Yechen was that he just wanted to win over Yechen. After all, Yechen had awakened Mu Duan's existence, and he was still so young, and he would definitely have a bright future in the future. However, he didn't expect it, he originally wanted to win over. Now it's aside, this. However, things had come to this point, and if he wanted to back down, he could guarantee that the Hyuga clan would be a wall of ridicule from now on. Helpless, stand in line. Yechen is so young, and Mu Duan, maybe. Hinata, who was full of bitterness, also signed his daimyo. And now there are only 3 families left. As for Yi Chen, the first time he got the contract, he had already signed it. In fact, the most puzzling thing is the 3 families of pigs, deer and butterflies. If you say that Hinata Hiyashi was trained as a little brother by Sarutobi Hinata. So, the 3 clans of pigs, deer and butterflies should be the most loyal followers of the Ape Flying Sun. But now, the 3 tribes of pigs and deer butterflies actually stood in line for the night mourning, which is really confusing. Akamichi Dingza, Yamanaka Hai and the 2, all looked at Shikaku at this time. The 3 families of pigs and deer butterflies are in the same breath, and they are led by the Nara family. As long as Nara Shikaku signs, they will sign. And Nara Shikaku saw everyone's gaze, all looked at him, also picked up the pen, and signed the daimyo without hesitation. Akamichi Dingza, Yamanaka Hai saw this, and also signed the contract. Good, good, you are truly worthy of Konoha. Quote, the Ape Flying Sun chop is about to explode. Especially seeing Shikaku sign without hesitation. Ape Fairy really wanted to channel the ape demon, turn into a golden hoop rod and knock out Lu Ju's braincase to see what was going on in his head. He asked himself, he didn't treat the people of the 3 tribes of pigs, deer and butterflies badly. But now sincerely in exchange for betrayal. Okay, if things have been negotiated, let's disperse. Ape Flying Sun Chopper no longer wants this meeting, and continues to open. Declare the meeting directly closed. Before leaving, Ape Fairy looked at the few people in the night. You guys have to start work as soon as possible, after all, there is only 1 year. Quote. Say it, directly took the gloating group and left the conference room. After Ape Flying Sun chopping Konoha F4 left, everyone in the conference room also got up and left. Before leaving, the patriarchs of the Inuzuka clan and the Oil Girl clan wanted to stay and talk with a few people in the morning. However, when they saw several dark parts in the conference room, all watching them, they all sighed and left the conference room. A moment later, only Yechen was left in the conference room, Uchiha Fugaku. Hinata, Inoka Butterfly Trio. This time, I was miserably killed by you, and after I went back, I didn't know how to explain to the elders of the family. Seeing that there were only a few of them left in the conference room, Hinata said to Yechin with a bitter face. Haha, let me say first, I didn't let you get me together, you volunteered. Yechin looked at Hinata with a bitter face, and laughed. Besides, you guys have made a lot of money this wave. You should thank me. Quote. Whether you earn or not, today a few of us do this, the future will not be better. Hinata Hiyashi still sighed. When Yechin heard this, he clenched his fists and put them in front of Hinata, and then slowly spoke. You have lived for so many years, don't you still understand a truth? Quote. Several people looked at Yi Chen's fist. Yechin said confidently. As long as the fist in this world is hard enough, who dares to be with you? Unfortunately, I was confident that my fists were very hard, and they were beyond imagination. Quote. When Uchiha Fugaku heard this, they were all silent. All right, construction will start tomorrow, and you are ready to take over the store. Quote. Yechin looked at a few people, and then at the several members of the dark department who had been watching them not far away, knowing that it was not appropriate to say too much here, waved his hand at a few people, and walked towards the door. Seeing this, Uchiha Fugaku and several others looked at each other, and left the conference room in silence as well. Along the way, several people didn't say much, just agreed to go to the commodity area together tomorrow, and then went home separately. After the three of them left the Hokage building, the three of them came to the Nara clan together. As soon as he sat down, Yamanaka Haichi was a little impatient, looked at Shikahisa and asked, Shikaku, didn't you say before that our three families firmly stood for 3 generations of Hokage? Why did you fall to the night mourning today? Quote. Akamichi Dingza also looked at Lu Ju at this time, and was also full of puzzlement. Nara Shikahisa lit a cigarette and spit out a smoke ring, and after the smoke covered his entire face, he said lightly, we didn't have a choice before, but now we have a choice, why don't we choose? Quote. In fact, as Yamanaka Haichi said, since the 3rd generation of the throne, the 3 families of pigs and deer butterflies have been following him. Even when the 4th generation reigned, they all listened to the 3rd generation of Hokage. And now, before Yechin became the Hokage, they began to take sides. If Yechin failed, then the 3 of them would be miserable. Luju, tell me your reason. This reason can't convince me. Yamanaka Haichi wouldn't let Shikaku go like this, staring at him and continuing to ask. Phew. Shikaku spit out a smoke ring again, lowered his head slightly, and slowly spoke. Think about it, since the 3 generations of Hokage took office, have we Konoha become better or worse? Quote. Yamanaka Haichi and Akamichi Dingza did not speak, but just looked at Shikahisa, waiting for his words. And Shikaku obviously didn't need them to answer, and continued to say to himself, not to mention how powerful Konoha was when the first Hokage reigned, what a strong foundation did Konoha leave to Konoha at that time, after the governance of the 1st and 2nd generations. Think about the former Konoha White Fang, the Ninja Realm 3 Shinobi, and the powerful Senju clan, and look at the present. The prosperous Ape Flying clan, the Shimura clan. Quote. Speaking of this, Nara Shikaku sighed. I'm really afraid, let them rule for 3 more generations, and these family bases in Konoha will be gone. Quote. Shikaku raised his head and looked at the two. Since we established Konoha in the 1st generation, we have pressed our home to Konoha. If Konoha is gone, where can we go? Quote. After Nara Shikaku finished speaking, the 3 of them were silent. A moment later, Yamanaka Haichi glared at Nara Shikaku and said, you don't pull these useless things, Fumi and Dingza, even if the ape flying sun slashes them really to destroy Konoha, it doesn't matter to us. It's a big deal to join other ninja villages. I don't believe that you Nara Shikaku can really take the entire family into it for Konoha. Quote. When Nara Luju heard this, he immediately laughed. Haha, I really can't fool you. Dingza, who had been sitting on the side without speaking, felt offended. After Nara Shikaku laughed, his face suddenly became gloomy. Seeing this, Yamanaka Haichi and Akamichi Dingza knew that the main drama was coming. I have investigated some of the deaths of our Nara family in World War II and World War III. Nara Shikaku looked up at the 2 of them, and said with a solemn face, in the two Ninja World Wars, my Nara clan killed a total of 4,357 people, of which 2,132 were not even found in corpses. Quote. When Haichi and Ding Za heard this, they looked at each other, a little not understanding what Shikaku wanted to say. Do you remember the day Orochimaru defected? In fact, a long time ago, I suspected that Sarutobi Hinata and Shimura Danzo were doing human experiments. So, I sent some loyal clansmen to join the Dark Ministry, just to check something. Quote. When Yamanaka heard this, his eyes widened suddenly, and he looked at Lu Ju and exclaimed, Are you saying that in these two Ninja World Wars, some of the clansmen who were reported to have died in battle were actually captured by them to do human experiments? Quote. Good. Lu Ju nodded solemnly. Although they did it seamlessly, the day that Orochimaru defected was when their attention was distracted. I got information that over the years, Tuanzang has been studying our families who have secret arts and blood succession limits. Quote. Nara Shikahisa said this, his face full of anger. These fools, we are fighting and dying for the village on the front line, but they stab us in the back. I didn't have a choice before, I just want to pay more attention. However, the appearance of Mudun in the night and morning gave me a better choice. Quote. Yamanaka Haichi and Akamichi Dingza listened to Nara Shikahisa's words, and their hearts were also cold. They have always been a staunch family that supports the ape-flying sun. However, their support was exchanged for such a result. No wonder Lu Ju, who has always been sane, would be so abnormal today. This is all forced by them. Yechin, are you crazy? Do you think our family's money is burning too much? Yes. Quote. Do you know how big the merchandise area is? Do you know how much manpower and financial resources it takes to rebuild the merchandise area without a lot of ninja assistance? Yechin had just returned to the Senju clan, handed over the contract he had signed to Ju Shinai, and told her the content of the meeting. This little pepper is fried directly. Her long red hair is like the tentacles of an octopus, with her teeth dancing and claws. His ears were even twisted by Ju Shinai and attacked by her sonic gong. On the side, Uchiha Makoto, Red Bean, and a little boy of 5 or 6 years old were silently watching Yechin being destroyed by Ju Shinai. Hey, Ju Shinai, you listen to me first, With Mu Duan, the current ninja realm ceiling combat power, the dignified shadow-level peak powerhouse Yi Chen, at this time, while covering his ears, he loudly begged for mercy. Okay, you say slowly. Ju Shinai is also out of breath. Now she is in charge of the entire money of the Thousand Hands clan. Over the years, due to the decline of the Thousand Hands clan, the fiscal revenue has become lower and lower. In the past, the Senju clan also had some veins, and shops could sell items. But now, the entire vein of the Thousand Hands family, for various reasons, has all been sold, and the shops opened have been closed and transferred early. In other words, when Yechin took over the Thousand Hands clan, the entire Thousand Hands clan could only live by collecting rent. And now Konoha has experienced the Nine Tails Rebellion, and the shops in the commodity area have all been destroyed, and this time, it is really fatal. There would have been less income. Ju Shinai was worried about how to increase his income. Good now, night morning big bags, to step on the pit in the commodity area. This is afraid that the Thousand Hands clan will not fall fast enough, and deliberately toss it, right. After Ju Shinai let go of his ears, Yechin rubbed his ears, looked at Ju Shinai and complained, feelings in your eyes, am I an unreliable loser? Quote. Yes, the current commodity area does look like a giant pit. But have you all forgotten that I'm going to run away? Quote. Ju Shinai, as well as Uchiha Makoto and the others, were all stunned when they heard this. Without waiting for them to react, Yechin continued, I think that in the beginning, after pacifying the ninja clan in the country of fire, he directly chose this position to start establishing Konoha. However, now everyone has forgotten that when the country of fire had just been pacified, where did the money to build such a large village? There was no money to build, and the first generation had to come on its own. Let me tell you, many of the houses in Konoha today were built with wooden done in the first generation. Quote. When Yechin said this, he said a little proudly, you guys say, with my current amount of chakra, is it difficult to fill a pit in one soil? After filling the pit, is it difficult to build a house with a wooden escape? Quote. So, This commodity area is a big pit in the eyes of others, but in my opinion, it is a cornucopia, and you don't need to spend a penny, you consume some chakra, and it is so white that it is a prosperous area, and it is simply profitable. Zhu Xinai and the others were all stunned after listening to Yi Chen's words. They never expected that Mu Dun would have such an operation. In fact, not only did they not expect it, but the entire people in Konoha did not expect that Mu Dun could even build a house. After all, in the eyes of everyone, Mu Dun is the legendary blood succession limit, and beating tailed beasts is like hitting children. In everyone's cognition, Mu Dun is used to attack, who would have thought that it could still be built? Wow, got rich. After Zhu Xinai came back to his senses, he jumped 3 feet tall and jumped onto Yi Chen. Trojan. Zhu Xinai, who was excited, kissed Yechen fiercely, and said excitedly, "Haha, Chen, you are so powerful, I love you to death." Quote. "Oh, woman." Yechen hugged Zhu Xinai, pouted disdainfully, and just now performed a lion roar skill on him, scolding him for being a loser. Love him to death now. Oh woman, it's incomprehensible. The commodity area is so big, it can be divided into at least 2 streets, even if there are only 300 shops in one street, and 600 in 2 streets, then. The excited Zhu Xinai, holding Yechen, calculated how much income they would have if this commodity area was established. Okay, you two are enough, there are still children here. Watching Zhu Xina jumping up and down holding Yechen, Uchiha Makoto couldn't help but speak. Zhu Xinai, Yechen heard this, and looked at Uchiha Makoto and several people. Hey, how many of you are still there? Zhu Xina looked at Uchiha Makoto and said a little confused. When Uchiha Makoto heard this, her face was speechless. Hehe, sorry, I was so happy just now, my brain didn't turn for a while. Zhu Xina looked back and looked at Makoto a little apologetically. Immediately, Zhu Xinai pointed to the little boy who had been silent and looked only 5 or 6 years old, and introduced to Yechen, Chen, this little ghost is Fugaku's son, called Uchiha Itachi. Last night, I happened to save him, he came to thank him. Quote. When Yi Chen heard this, his gaze fell on this weasel who looked 5 or 6 years old, but his demeanor did not look like a child at all. Hello, Senior Yechen, my name is Uchiha Itachi. Originally my mother and I came to visit together, but my father said that they are not good to come here now, so I am the only one to thank you. I'm so sorry. Quote. The 5 or 6-year-old Uchiha Itachi came to Yechen, bowed very politely, and spoke like a little adult. Oh, it's Fugaku's son, it's good. Yes, I can see at a glance that you are a big filial son. Yechen looked at the future weasel god, pressed his palm on his head, and rubbed it vigorously, and said meaningfully. The heart said, this little guy will not be a big filial piety in the future. Even the entire Uchiha clan was lost by him. However, now that this Hokage world has him, Yechen will definitely not watch the Uchiha clan all wiped out. Yes, thank you Yechen Sr. for your compliment. The future weasel god looked at Yechen with excitement on his face at this time. Last night, he witnessed the battle with the 9 tails with his own eyes. It can be said that the back of Yechen standing above the wooden man's head has been deeply imprinted in his mind. Today's night morning is the idol of the weasel. How can a weasel, who is only a few years old, not be excited to get praised by his idol? Next, early in the morning, almost all the people in Konoha village, who were a little free, ran to the commodity area that had been reduced to ruins. As for why you came here, naturally, I came to see the loser. Just yesterday, a message circulated in the village. The news is that the only male of the Thousand Hands clan has awakened the legendary Mu Dun, and the Lord Yechen who hangs the tailed beast, is actually a loser. When the news first got out, everyone didn't believe it. But when more and more people, after understanding the specific situation, while sighing in his heart that the Senju family is worthy of being Konoha's original family, they are also sighing secretly, Lord Yechen is really a loser. Now the whole Konoha who does not know, the commodity area is a big pit. Without the help of a large number of ninjas, it is more difficult to establish a commodity area within a year than to ascend to the sky. Moreover, it is said that the construction will start today in the morning. What is the situation of the Senju clan now, who in the entire ninja world does not know all? There are few people in the entire Thousand Hands clan, and I haven't heard that the Thousand Hands clan is recruiting manpower, and they will start work today, isn't it a joke? Therefore, the people in Konoha village, as long as they are a little free, want to come and see how the work starts in the morning. Therefore, this led to, early in the morning, the perimeter of the commodity area was full of people. Alas, a few days ago this was still a lively downtown area, and after only 2 days, it became like this. What a crime. But no, fortunately I was a little delayed that night, and I didn't drink with Ayaki, otherwise, I might be lying in the cemetery now, but it's a pity that Iki and them, I can't drink with them in the future. Oh, my Suzuko was shot to death by that monster that night. All blame me. If I hadn't taken on a few more tasks in order to save enough money to buy a house earlier, and didn't have time to accompany her, she wouldn't have gone shopping. Brother, mourning is obedient. You look like this. If she sees it in the underworld, she will not be happy. Oh, thank you for your comfort. Fortunately she was not shopping alone that night, otherwise, how lonely she would be in the underworld. Oh, so, your girlfriend was killed that day with her girlfriend. Alas, this is good, at least there is a companion. Quote. Well, it's her girlfriend is very good, she grew up with her since she was a child, and sometimes when I am away from home on assignment, it is her girlfriend who takes care of her. Ah, take the liberty of asking, your girlfriend's girlfriend is a man or a woman? Male, my girlfriend has always called him brother. Quote. Cough, brother, listen to my brother's advice. Don't be sad, it's good that she was sent away by the monster, otherwise she may be sent away by you in the future. Hey, what are you talking about? Today is the day when Lord Yechin starts construction, so aren't you curious, how does Lord Yechin start construction? Quote. That's right, this brother I can see at a glance, he is not a human, what are you talking to him about? Let's talk about Lord Yechin. Quote. Hey, this friend said something too much, right? Where is this brother not human? Quote. Have you ever heard of a creature like Tiango? The people on the edge of the ruins looked at the scorched earth in front of them, and there was a large pit in the scorched earth commodity area, and they were all embarrassed. Seeing this scene, many people think of that terrible night, think of the relatives and friends they lost that night. Suddenly, the scene was lively, and from time to time there were some people's crying. Lord Night Morning is here. I don't know who shouted, and all of a sudden, everyone looked in one direction. Immediately afterwards, under the gaze of everyone, Yorichin took the lead. Kushina, Uchiha Makoto, Uchiha Fugaku, Hinata Hiyashi, Inuga Butterfly, and some of their clansmen, walked over from the road separated by the crowd. Are you sure you can really do it? Coming to the edge of the scorched earth of the ruins, Jushinai looked at the bare and large pit commodity area, looked at Yechin with some worry, and asked in a low voice. You can rest assured. Minor issues. Quote. In fact, Yechin looked at this large area, and he was also a little weak. I didn't pay attention that night, now I look at it this way. Nima, this area is really large, just visually inspecting this area, at least more than 2,000 acres, accounting for 1/5 of the area of Konoha. No wonder Konoha is so eager to build this place. Building this place will not only promote Konoha's commerce, but also collect a lot of taxes. But fortunately, the destruction of the Nine Tails began here that day. This area is a commercial area, except for a few residences, all are shops, otherwise, the ownership of the land will have to pay a fee. It should be fine, right? Looking at this large area, Yechin secretly estimated that he was all chakra, and his heart was also a little bottomless. What about him? Not for a day, for a few days, alas, if only he could be in immortal mode. Yechin sighed secretly again, if he knew immortal mode, he wouldn't have to worry at all. 3 generations of adults are coming. 3 generations of adults. 3 generations of adults actually came, worthy of 3 generations of adults, and they cared so much about people's livelihood. And just as Yechin was about to start, there were voices from the crowd. Yi Chen and the others turned their heads and saw 3 generations of Hokage ape flying to the sun, leading his group of elders, as well as the patriarchs of some small families, towards them. Yechin looked at the ape who took the lead and walked with a kind smile on his face, and from time to time greeted those villagers he really wanted to punch over. This guy is so good at pretending. However, I have to admit that this guy is a natural guest. Night Morning, are you ready? Ape Flying Sun came to Yechin, with a kind smile on his face, looked at the people around Yechin, and then, with a puzzled face, said, Yechin, why did you only bring so few people over? This area is quite a lot. Quote. Hehe, isn't this the patriarch of the Uchiha clan? How did you guys Uchiha build a house? And it's also the patriarch of the Uchiha clan leading the team. Tuanzo looked at Uchiha Fugaku next to Yechin, and the people of the Uchiha clan behind Uchiha Fugaku, and a rare smile appeared on his face, and the meaning of the words was actually very ironic. I don't know if it's because of Senju, or if Danzo is really in love with Sharingan, and he looks at the Uchiha family, how he sees it, it's not pleasing to the eye. HMPH. Uchiha Fugaku's face was a little ugly when he heard Danzo's words, but he didn't want to say more, snorted coldly, and ignored him. Sarutobi Hinata heard Danzo's mocking words about Uchiha, and did not open his mouth to reprimand, but instead glanced at Hinata, who also had an ugly face, and the trio of Pig Deer Butterfly glanced at each other, still with a smile on their faces. Haha, Naruto-sama, don't worry, I promise to get it done soon. Yechin didn't seem to hear the ridicule of the ape-flying son, laughed, and then, under everyone's doubtful gaze, walked towards the scorched earth ruins, and his hands began to make marks. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.